Take my hand and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, get ready to begin and just levitate.
down to the baseline.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. And so just find me, just find me. Sparks will fly if we scream no. This is not how we're gonna go. We are the ones who will never let go. Just watch us run to where no one knows. We'll never grow. We'll never grow. Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. And so just find me, just find me. Sparks will fly if we scream no. This is not
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our week 2 of the CBLoL broadcast. My name is Jay Force. I'm your play-by-play caster. Join with me is John Nesbitt, and we are bringing you Game 1 of Ked Stars versus CNB Esports. How you doing today, Nezzy?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, as we're right now in the Champ Select. Looks like Kid Stars did ban Olaf, Caitlyn, and Galio. We are on patch
7-11.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, and the first pickups were Kennen. They're probably going to run the 80 Kennen on Kid Stars, and CNB is going to be flexing the Gragas, could be top or jungle, and then Karma could be flex support or mid, as we have seen lately.
Yeah, that threat is always there with Karma, although I do anticipate that going to the support role, Rakan getting locked in for Ked Stars here, and that's a little bit of a spicy pick. We've seen some good Rakan play, we've seen some poor Rakan play, and that champion definitely can make plays.
Yeah, I wonder if Takeshi is going to pick up Zaya right now for his team, and it's like he's hovering Lucian right now. I mean, Lucian's not bad with, it's going to be Lucian, Rakan. I mean, then again, Lucian could be mid or top, so it could be Lucian AD carry, it could be Lucian mid, it could be Lucian top. So
and that also could be a Kennen AD carry, as we've seen Reckless pull that out 3 straight games the other day. So they have definitely a lot of flex picking going on here for Ked Stars.
Yeah, then again, I've only seen Reckless pull out the Kennen AD carry well, and looks like it's going to be Ivern in jungle, so that's going to confirm it's going to be a Gragas top for CNB, and Ivern's going to be going in the jungle, so we know about that much for CNB's comp. While other than on Keith starts, other than Rakan support, the 2 other champions, Lucian and Kennen, can go multiple roles. And Zach, even though 7-11 he did receive those nerfs, but he's still pretty strong in the eyes of Brazil, and he's still going to be banned.
Wow, that is really, really interesting to see Zach fall all the way to the second ban phase. So professionals seeing that not nearly as strong as it used to be, as that was perma-banned just a week ago. Got to the second ban phase, going to be banned away. Twitch is the next one up, as you do have that Ivern locked in for CNB. You want to take away those protect the 80 carry comps. Like Twitch.
Yeah. Both Cogbang and Twitch can fit into those comps, as well as the occasional Jinx can fit in. Though not as well as the previous 2 as far as those protect the 80 carry comps. With that Ivern and Karma, that seems like the setup that CNB is going for, so I expect maybe a Kog'Maw ban on the side of Keith Stars. It looks like LeBlanc is going to be second ban for CNB, trying to keep that away from Takeshi.
Yeah, definitely they do not want to take that matchup for whatever reason. Karma actually pretty good into LeBlanc, so I anticipate that actually is basically that ban in of itself, going to be confirming that going to the bot lane. Orianna going to be banned away as well. A staple in the mid lane. Has been so good for so long. Rarely falling out of the meta more than a few weeks at a time. It looks like Tristana being hovered here. That's another 80 carry that can fit into those protect the 80 carry comps with her passive, giving her so much attack range. And there it is, locked in for PBO. Is that Tristana? How do you feel about that one?
Well, obviously, I think that Tristana is a bit better than Kog'Maw in lane, so they're taking that earlier just to give their mid laner a counter pick. So I suggest for a blind 80 carry pick, you're trying to get it in a protect 80 carry comp. That's probably your best shot. I did forget about Tristana there. She's a bit lower in the tiers of 80 carries, though she can definitely do her work, especially with her sieging power with her when she puts her bomb on those towers.
Yeah, one of the best tower takers in the game, along with Caitlyn. That's for sure. Graves being hovered here could be locked in for the jungle. So Lucian in the bot lane, Syndra there in the mid lane will allow CNB Esports the counter pick. You can go for the Kassadin or Echo, which are available and traditionally looked at as the counters to Syndra. We'll see what Tin Owns wants to opt in for, but looking at these compositions, it's going to be the Echo.
There's the Echo.
Yeah, how do you think these comps fare right now? You have a very supportive jungler, a lot of shielding there for PBO, and on the other side, you have a lot of split push potential in that Kennen, a very strong duo lane. A lot of early game potential for Ked Stars.
Yeah, I like Ked Star's bot lane as far as the early game goes, because Rakan has a lot of playmaking ability in the early game, especially if he takes Courage of Colossus, and he is going to Ignite, so I think their bot lane has the advantage in the early game against Triss. He's not the best early game. She's meant to be like a late game hyper carry. And Karma, all she can do is really shield. She can poke the Rakan a bit, but Rakan can just sustain himself with his Q if he's able to hit a champion with his little feather. He can sustain himself and Lucian through poke. So I definitely give Kidstars the advantage in the bot lane. Mid lane, I mean, you've said it before, Echo is the counter Syndra due to Echo's ability and to be able to jump onto the Syndra, because the Syndra is very good at a range, but if somebody gets on top of that Syndra, it's not good news for her, because she needs that a distance so she can set her balls up and then shove them down Echo's throat. And that's what there needs to be done for the Syndra. She needs to stay back and keep the setup going.
Looks like our CBLoL casters have picked out PBO versus Juzinho is our matchup of the day. We have the Tristana versus that Lucian. You talked about it. Definitely going to be favored in that Lucian Rakan matchup. Definitely going to be favored for them. But in the top side of the map, we have been seeing a lot of the Gragas getting picked into the AD Kennen. How do you feel about that matchup? I've seen that matchup go all sorts of wrong for the Gragas. But at the same time, if you're going to play a tank, he is one of the best wave clearing tanks.
Yeah, with his barrel and the triple Dorans, and with Galio banned, that's probably your best pick if you want to tank. Mostly due to the fact he can basically wave clear against, he has some wave clear against the Kennen, so he can at least survive in lane. He doesn't necessarily need to win the lane, he just needs to straight up survive and scale later into the game. Kennen, of course, will want to get an early lead and try and establish some split push pressure into the sidelines.
We are seeing a fairly defensive start from both sides, although looks like the bot lane of CNB wanted to get a deep ward, as well as the top side of the map for Kidstars. We are onto the Rift though, so I'll introduce you to the blue side of the map. We have Kidstars in the top lane, Yang playing Kennen, Revolta playing jungle Graves, Takeshi in the mid lane on Syndra, Juzinho playing AD carry Lucian, and Issa supporting his team on Rakan.
And on the red side, we have CNB. In the top lane, we have Lep playing that Gragas. In the jungle, we have Minerva playing that Ivern. In the mid lane, we have Tonowens playing the Echo. In the AD carry position, we have PBO on the Tristana. And in the support position, we have Was on the Karma.
Yeah, so it looks like we have Revolta starting the red buff of this Ivern right here, trying to avoid getting 3 buffed. That is always a concern against Ivern, being so good at counter jungling. Very, pretty unavoidable in that respect, as you can't really stop him from doing so. They spot him on a ward heading toward the red side. That's no surprise. Completely anticipated this play, and so Graves just going to be clearing the top side of Ivern's jungle here.
Yeah, what I also noticed on the side of Kidstars, Essa, who played AD carry last week, has now moved to support, while Jahinzo has been acquired to put into a care position. So, I mean, they did end up losing last week, getting 2-0'd by Team 1, if I'm correct. Yeah, that's right. They did get 2-0 by Team 1, so I'm guessing that change is to try and switch something up, to get a different duo in the bot lane.
Ivern actually may end up losing out on this red buff right now. He saw Graves going over to it right now. It doesn't have, it does not have the, yeah, it's not fully, I'm not sure what you call the Greenfathers thing. It's not there
Charge
for him, and yeah, he isn't able to take it. He didn't even smite it away. So Ivern the one getting 3 buff right now. Very peculiar play here from Minerva.
Yeah, I mean, Ivern did receive those nerfs a few ago that made placing those marks a bit harder. It takes 33% of your health and your mana to place those marks, as opposed to the 25% it was before. So it's a bit more punishing for him to place these marks. And unless he smites it, he's basically just giving away his health until those marks charge. And Graves is a very good place early, so if he places that mark and runs into Graves, he has to just run away because he can't fight him.
Yeah, it appears to be so. He had the red buff marked, though, for a smite, and he had smite available, opted not to do so. Looks like CMB getting a lot of chip damage onto this tower. Rakan going in, engaging on this PBO. Just a little bit of poke damage there. So this lane actually going in favor of CMB as of now, and definitely not anticipated that, but it might just be due to the sheer strength of that Karma here in the bot lane. Generally seen as quite the lane bully down here.
Yeah, I mean, Karma's poke is very strong, and that can be very hard for a bit, but I think if Q-Star's bot lane can get a nice engage on Tristana and kill her, then they can definitely get ahead in this lane.
Some things coming out here as the Karma's roaming into the river there. Pretty slow early game. A little bit of action in the jungle that we saw is some macro play going on, but outside of that, these lanes fairly safe. Neither Ivor nor Graves, very strong ganker in the early game, so it's not too surprising to see.
Yeah, I mean, Graves needs usually some help with crowd control when it comes to like his ganks, because Graves can do a lot of damage. He just needs help locking people down. As he, there's a little scrap around the Raptors.
Yeah, it looks like Minerva going to be smiting away those Raptors as he created enough distance from him and Revolta where Revolta couldn't put any damage onto him. It sets up the easy pick up there for Minerva. So, and if we're talking about that as the most action going on here in the early game, it's pretty slow goings here. Looks like Wasp getting engaged on there, getting fairly low. PBO and Juzinho trying to duke it out. Both these bot lanes going to be disengaging there. Graves continuing to look for this Ivern right now. Lep teleporting back to top lane, probably poked out there, as that is definitely a Kennen favored matchup early on.
Yeah, he is losing on a lot of CS, but he does have the triple Dorans now to try and sustain his health and mana as he attempts to just stay in this lane as long as humanly possible to pick up CS and try to keep up with this Kennen. I think Lep already knows this is not going to be favored. He's not going to win hard against the Kennen. He's just going to try and survive as long as he can until he's able to scale up and become the real tanky Gragas late game.
Yeah, so Echo hitting 6 here early onto Takeshi, engaging, not going to be finding anything. PBO forced to use that jump away from Jusinho and Essa. These bot lanes trying to find any advantage that they can, sitting at dead even in the CS department right now.
Yeah, the thing is, one save is whoop. This Echo is just really laying onto this Syndra right now.
Yeah, knowing that Syndra can't really do anything. Graves has shown up, going to be spotted out on a ward though. Just going to clear that walk on over to his top side. Jungle could be meeting this Ivern here. Ward goes onto the blue. They know where this Ivern is. Ivern going to be backing in this brush. Revolta trying to find him, stop him from doing so. Ivern would be in a little bit of trouble if the Graves found him. Would be forced to flash, but he gets away with the recall. So he'll be okay. The CS advantage mounting there in the top lane as well as mid in favor of CMB in the mid and Kedstars in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the one in Kedstars is a bit more advantageous. That Kennen's just a real big lane bully with the 80 Kennen. Currently has Berserker Greaves, which usually want to get into that Cutlass early, try to get close to that Blade of the Ruined King, but Ivern's going to try to come in.
We have our first gank. Flashed away, though. Yang going to be getting out of that one. Two summoners burnt, both flashes for these top laners. Nice reactions there from Yang, and you saw the Gragas nerf earlier this season come into effect. It gives the opponent time to react to the body slam, the flash body slam ultimate combo.
Yeah, that one nerf kind of put Gragas like out of the jungle meta for a while, but he has found a new home in the top lane, being a very tanky, sustaining top laner. He can sustain himself with those triple Doran's rings as well as his passive, which can basically after a few seconds, next spell he uses, he also heals. He takes a drink and heals himself for a percentage of his maximum health. I think it's like 4, 6, 8 over the 6%.
Yeah,
flat over the entire game.
Yeah, 6% flat over the entire game. It was actually a small buff that he received at the beginning of the season. He had fallen out of favor quite a bit. Changed it from 4% to 6% on that max health regen. As we are seeing Graves hovering here on the bot side of the map. Syndra looking to rotate over, at least somewhat. Ivern waiting in the wings. Jusinho going to get engaged on by PBO. Rakan going back in, has ultimates available to him. Forced to flash away as PBO was ignited too. The Graves ultimate not going to be able to finish him off, but going to force him back away as the 3v3 going in favor of Kedstars.
Yeah, it looks like it was 3 summoners on the side of CMB used for only the Ignite for ESA. So Basically, that was a huge summer advantage in favor of Kedstars, and if Graves does return to this, returns to the lane, or if the bot lane of Kidstars does go for another engage, they'll have a huge advantage because Tristana cannot heal, she can't flash, only escape is really just her rocket jump.
Yeah, and that a duo of Lucian and Rakan can be very scary to someone without summoner spells. As we are seeing Minerva heading to the top lane once again. Kennen does not have his flash. The Gragas ultimate not quite up yet either. Yang going to be finding Minerva in the jungle. Wasp rotating over as well. This Kennen going to be falling first blood over to Lep there in the top lane. So CMB on the board.
Yeah, from the looks of it, I'm not sure if he just placed that ward, but he might have just placed it. But he just ended up running straight into Daisy, and Daisy was able to get that knock up. And that basically locked down the Kennen long enough for the Gragas to come in and follow up and finish off the Kennen early. But we're going to have a tower race as Karma moves to the top lane. They switch their bot lane to the top lane as the other bot lane, as well as Graves, takes down the turret, who will get it first. Oh.
As we are seeing them fight here in the mid lane. Takeshi forced to flash away. He has his teammates waiting in the area, so he'll be able to walk out of that one. First turret going over to Kedstars. That, due to the gank earlier, forced the rotation from CMB into the top lane. Going to be giving away the dragon as well as first blood tower. So opting not to send their duo lane back down there. Keep them safe. Get them a tower. Get them scaling. But they are going to lose a lot for it.
Yeah.
But they're going to...
Yeah, Rift Herald will be grabbed from the side of CMB in response. So each team will get a tower and a monster to their name, albeit there's probably going to be no response from Kidstar. So each team will get a tower and a monster in their name, the Infernal Dragon going over to Kidstars, and the Rift Herald going over to CMB. So I think from the looks of it, the gold lead is slightly in favor of Kidstars. Basically, the extra gold from the first blood turret balancing out with the first blood acquired from CMB.
Yeah, gold pretty even here, like you said. But they have Rift Herald on the side of CNB, so basically trading the Rift Herald for that Infernal Dragon is giving up a little bit of scaling in the late game for mid-game gold. It's going to depend on how they use that Rift Herald, but that can be a lot of gold taken off the board. The ideal lane to use that in is going to be that mid lane to give the Rift Herald less distance to cover. Looks like we are seeing the duo lane getting rotated up here to the top lane. Tristana there waiting to just clear, but there are 3 members of Kedstars waiting in the wings. Karma going to be rotating up to the top side of the map. Gragas on the bot side just hanging out down there. Knows he can't extend further up. As we are seeing a teleport play. Duo teleport. We have 2 men on the backside of that. Rakan looking for the gauge. Isn't going to find it. Teleport coming out from the Kennen. But here comes the Gragas and the Echo. They're going to blow up Rakan. He's getting so low. But here comes the slicing Maelstrom. Down goes Karma! Yang looks to me like he could be falling next. So Lucian pick up the kill onto the Echo. In response, though, Kennen going to be falling left, getting engaged on right here. So it looks like CMB going to get turned on. Rakan going to find left, going to see him. Down he goes. So a 3-for-1 in favor of Kedstars, and they're going to get this turret too.
It looked so good for CMB at the start of that. I mean, you had the double teleport coming in. That was basically a perfect flame because the tower was already down. So it seemed like at the beginning of that fight, it was going to be really bad for Kedstars. But Khan was basically able to dance out of that and wait for Yang to come in and do he had a huge slicing maelstrom as we go over this. And we saw a double TP. Ten Owens and Lep were coming in from the side. And it looked like almost a 3-man, only a 1-man. As Rakan just had to use was being bounced around, but Gang, nice slicing Maelstrom. Even though it doesn't do damage, it was able to lock down the team enough for Kidstars to reset and allow them to basically re-establish themselves in the fight, and they were able to basically clean up the rest of these kills. Down goes Lep, there he goes, he goes down, and that basically secured them that turret as well.
Yeah, so Kedstars blow up in this game, taking about a 1.5 to 2K gold lead here. They have a good amount of gold onto that Lucian, sitting at 101 right now. You like to see that as he does spike quite hard in the mid game once he gets that Blade of the Room King. You have Kennen about to pick up his blade, which will put a lot more pressure on this Gragas. These duo lanes could be meeting up here in the top side of the map. Summoners spell advantage in favor of CNB, actually. So they may be able to win out this 2v2 for now. Ivern and Echo hanging around here in the mid lane. Ivern should have that Rift Herald buff on him available. Only a few, can't be any much longer now though for that Rift Herald buff.
Yeah, it only lasts for a short amount of time before it just goes away for good. So Ivern's going to need to find an opportunity to try and get some damage on the tower before it goes away using that Rift Herald. Though they probably will want to try and set up something mid lane to try and clear away some of the members of Kidstars away from the mid lane so they can get that Rift Herald in for free. And speaking of Rift Herald, here she comes.
Yeah, Pink's coming out here in the mid lane. Rift Herald going to be used here by Minerva. CNB trying to get something going on in this mid lane, but there's a 5-man rotation here from Kedstars. They see what's happening. The Rift Herald does a little bit of damage, but it's not going to mean much as they take it down quite quickly there. Kedstars are able to see their trade of the Infernal for that Rift Herald come to fruition as they stop the Rift Herald from taking anything, and they got the Infernal.
Yeah, all they did was... all the CMB got was a little chip damage on the turret. Wasn't able to take down a single turret from the at all. I mean, I've seen some really good Rift Heralds, and I've seen some really bad, subpar Rift Heralds.
You know, I've been watching this Rift Herald for quite a bit. It almost seems to me like a win more item. If you're ahead and you have the Rift Herald, they can allow you to push down multiple towers where you normally would have only taken one. Or maybe not even taking one, but put some pressure on the tower. Well, if you're behind, though, it seems so difficult to use that Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, you need to find, like, a lane that's pretty much open. And CMB currently has a 2k gold deficit at the moment. And basically, you have to find a lane that's open. You have significant pressure. And in order to get pressure, you need to be winning in your lanes. So...
yeah, I think that Kedstars understood that, and giving over the Rift Herald to the team that's scaling isn't going to actually help them out in that respect, as we are seeing an engage here in the mid lane. Tinone's looking for the Syndra. Syndra responding with the ultimate of her own. Minerva going to be falling as he tried to help out his mid laner, but Echo had that chrono break available to him if he needed to, and I don't know if Ivern really needed to help him out.
Yeah, I mean, looks like Ivern was trying to get a shield onto the Echo, but Echo had a chrono break. I mean, Flash was down, but he still had his dash. Echo still had many ways to get out of that fight. And I think that was a bit of, like, well, I'd hate to say to call it over-aggression, but it's sort of like he over-exerted himself trying to protect his Echo, ended up dying himself.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. CNB digging themselves a little bit deeper of a hole. Infernal Dragon gonna be going over to Kedstars there, so they have a double Infernal Drake here at 17 minutes. That is not good. You never want to see that when you are playing against a team that has 4 carries on their side, so they're definitely good users of that buff.
Yeah, I mean, Kennen, when he gets rolling with that AD Kennen, he can definitely dish out a lot of damage over time with those auto attacks. Graves can obviously burst people down pretty easily with his sort of Q ulti. Put that Q against the wall, it can really take a chunk out of people's health. Syndra, of course, can just late game one-shot somebody with just her ultimate. Maybe very few balls really needed. Junzo will probably fall off a bit on this Lucian, but as far as as we head in the mid game, Lucian will definitely be doing a lot of damage. Rakan's a support, but he probably appreciates the double Infernals as well, as he'll get a lot of follow-up to his engages.
Yeah, as we are seeing some vision battles going on here as Essa and Echo clearing out each other's wards. Gragas there in the top lane, forced to back away from that Kennen. Just some wave clearing going on as the game does slow down here. Baron not spawned yet. Dragon off the table. And they're just trying to gain slight advantages here, trying to look for a pick and siege down another tower. Lucian, not the best sieging AD carry, but with the composition of the Graves and the Syndra able to zone them away, they should be able to take towers quickly here for Kedstars.
Yeah, right now, Kedstars just need to wait for an objective or a kill to take at this point. I mean, they want to get the win as early as possible. As the CNB's comp does scale up over time, I mean, Ivern can make ridiculous shields late game. Echo's going to be blowing up people since he's going to be going pretty much full AP. Tristana, of course, very good hyper carry in the late game. Karma can shield the entire team. Gragas is a really good tank.
Look at that item discrepancy, though. You talked about the late game scaling Tristana, but Lucian sitting on the full blade and Black Cleaver, where Tristana doesn't even have a full item completed.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Blade build. Blade is usually a bit of the cheaper of AD carry items, so you're able to spike a bit earlier, as it looks like Tristana is trying to go like a Runan's IE or something. One of those builds, which takes a lit more gold to scale, and if you're behind, you're obviously a little bit on deaths on gold currently. Whoops. Ivern's just going to blow his redemption. He'll be fine.
Yeah, healing on up, but the redemption going to be down here. It's going to make the next team fight a little bit easier for Kedstars if they choose to take one in the next minute or so. As the cooldown of redemption, not incredibly long. So we are seeing the map being reset here by CNB, top laner and AD carry as well as support just backed. So Tristana going to be picking up that Runons, working towards that IE here. Doesn't have boots yet, so that's a little bit scary for her, as something like a Kennen getting close to her would end up popping her like a balloon. We are seeing vision battles going on. Baron has spawned, so the team that is ahead right now, Kedstars, making sure that they're keeping vision on the top side of the map into CNB's jungle. CNB trying to clear it out, but at 20 minutes, they have 2 Infernals. They have 4 carries, one of them being an AD Kennen as well as the Lucian, so they have Blade available to them, and that means Rift Herald is a very real objective for them.
You mean Baron, right?
Baron, rest, yeah, Baron. Rift Herald's gone. Rift Herald's gone. That thing was used and didn't get anything for it.
Yeah, but also a third Infernal Drake is also up. So if Kidstars can really get that, they'll have 3 Infernal Drakes going into later in this game, where the Elder Drake will then spawn. So that'll give you at 8, 16, 24. So if they get the third Infernal Drake, they'll have 24 increased AD and AP. And if they get the Elder Drake, it'll be at 36% increase AD and AP, as well as the burn for each dragon they have gotten by the time the Elder spawns. So Kidstars are really playing the dragon game right now.
Yeah, it's quite favorable spawns for them, as Kedstars, I'm sure, appreciates 3 straight Infernal Drakes on a composition that doesn't scale as well as their opponents. Gold difference is only 3,000 right now, though, so CNB not out of this game in the slightest. The composition is going to start hitting some power spikes here. Echo looking for that Lich Bane. Tristana maybe about 1,500 gold away from that IE. Pretty big power spikes for those two, but they're really reliant there on their Tristana, as they don't have any real damage outside of her. Echo can blow up a single target, but not the greatest with his AoE.
Yeah, they're going to have to rely on Tristana and the Runan's procs and increased range for their AoE damage. This team really doesn't have too much AoE at all. I mean, Tristana needs to build items in order to gain that area of effect damage, as well as using her bomb her little E-bomb to set on somebody to try and proc it. Otherwise, it's mostly just Ivern and Karma that are just supports. Gragas is a tank, so he's not going to be doing damage. So CMB really needs to get their gold onto their carries, or else they're just not going to have enough damage for the late game.
Yeah, and on the other side, though, you have basically 2 AD carries there. You have a Kennen, you have a Lucian, then you have a Graves, who is technically a marksman, according to Riot, but doesn't really function like an AD carry, more of like a AD burst mage, but still a lot of damage there for Kedstars. The Infernal Dragon is going to be spawning here in a moment, or rather it already has spawned, and it looks like CNB looking to start this one up. This could be a poor decision. Kennen on the top side of the map has teleport available to him. There are wards for him to TP to right now. CNB getting this dragon very low. They understand that this is vital to them. They cannot let a 3-dragon advantage go in favor of Kedstars. Teleport coming out from the Kennen right now. The dragon going to be reset. Slicing Maelstrom available to that Kennen. Parallel Convergence coming out. Didn't end up going in on that dragon, sitting at about 1,000 health here. The Smite Steal going over to Revolta. So 3 Infernals for Kedstars. The team fight going to be disengaged, and that's huge here in the CBLoL Week 2 Game 1 of this matchup between Kedstars and CMB. Hugely in favor of Ked now.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like CMB was going to have it, having that, like, bush line set up. But Graves was able to sneak in using his dash and basically get the Smite Steal away, as well as they're going to get a turret as well off of this exchange. Well, nobody died, only just Daisy going down in that little bit of a skirmish over the dragon. But this is really big for Kedstars. They have 3 Infernal Drakes. This is we've barely seen this happen where there's like where a team gets 3 of the same kind of Drake, and that's very impactful, especially Infernal Drake, which is basically agreed upon as probably the most influential, powerful Drake in the game at this moment.
Yeah, people opting in for that Infernal over Rift Herald right now, which many teams have seemed to have grown a propensity to, picking up that Rift Herald. And it's even more valuable than that. And it's at 18% AD and AP right now. You can only imagine how bad that Syndra hurts, as well as the Lucian and Graves. As we are seeing the game slow down a little bit right here as teams are resetting the map, trying to gain vision control once again. Look, the Baron is going to be on the eyes of Ked here. CMB looking to stop that from happening, trying to claw back in this game somehow. And I think the only way that it does happen is they need a big Baron fight.
Yeah, that would probably be the case. Only way CMB can get back into this game, I mean, their carries are starting to hit a few powers, like Tristana getting the IE and Ruinant, so she, as well as her Berserker Gaze, she is going to be doing a bit of damage right now. But Echo is able to get the Lich Bane. Timons was able to get the Lich Bane onto his Echo, and as well as a Murktred, so he'll be able to slip out of some very hard situations a little easier with those Mercury Treads. Ivern currently having the Locket and Redemption combo, so he'll be really shielding up the rest of the team. Gragas currently sitting on 2 armor items, doesn't have a magic resist item, actually 3 armor items if you count a Ninja Tabby. And I mean, other than Syndra, who's the only real AP threat on the team of Kedstars, Gragas should be able to tank the rest of the team other than Syndra quite easily.
Yeah, that belly gonna be real big up there in the top lane, as he'll be able to tank up, like you said, quite a bit of damage there. But I don't know how much he can take if he's gonna be down so much in terms of scaling. The 3 Infernals offering so much scaling in favor of Kedstars here. It's even with all the tankiness he has available to him, the additional AD gonna be huge, as it looks like Asa trying to set up a play here around the Baron, clearing out some vision. The game has slowed down quite a bit. 4-2 is the scoreline right now in terms of kills. We're 27 minutes into the game, about a 3.5k gold lead. So once again, to reiterate, Kedstar's not up too much in terms of gold, but really what's coming down to right now is that dragon control.
Yeah, basically, Kedstars were playing the Dragon Control game. I mean, we haven't seen too many kills. There was that fight up in top lane that resulted in a lot going in favor of Kedstars, but otherwise, it's mostly just been purely macro and map movement going around for the side of Kedstars, getting those 3 Infernal Drakes on their side. And an Ocean is coming up next. Ocean, not as good this late in the game, but, I mean, the regeneration is nice, and it's another stack they can add for the Elder Drake that's coming on later in the game. And everybody seems to be dancing around Baron. Oof.
Yeah, Syndra putting a lot of poke damage on the Karma, and you're seeing the triple Infernals with that Syndra landing 2 abilities, taking about 80% of that Karma's health. Poor old Karma. So we are seeing the siege started up here on the top side of the map. All the control over to Kedstars up there. They have Baron control, they have vision control, and the jungle.
Yeah, right now, Kedstars is trying to establish some vision in the jungle, in the red side jungle of CMB, trying to make sure that that jungle is secure, so that way they can make a much cleaner Baron play, so they know exactly where where CNBR as relation is to the Baron.
Yes, we have the top laners duking out on the bot side of the map. Looks like Minerva going to be engaged on, going to be charmed up, and down he goes. So the jungler down for CNB. Kedstar is rotating over on the top side of the map. This map, they're going to be picking up that tower there. The question is, do they keep sieging down the top side of the map, or they go for Baron? Looks like they're going to keep sieging down this inhibitor tower on the top side. Only Tristan on Karma there to clear things out. Not going to be contesting right now. It looks like the tower will fall. Yeah, they're going to keep looking for the inhibitor.
Yeah.
Looks like the Echo trying to poke him down a little bit. Not going to be able to find anything. Gang is waiting in the wings right there. It looks like the culling comes out. PBO getting very low. Forced to flash away. And it looks like the inhibitor going to be going down. So Kedstar's, they get the pick on Minerva. And it's just clinically take down the rest of the top side of the map.
Yeah, PBO just witnessed that culling does more than just, it's not just a tickling, it's a real culling right now, as he nearly got taken out just by the culling alone, taking all those shots to the face. And right now the game's in heavy control of Kedstars. They have the 3 Infernal Drakes, they have the gold lead, they have the kill lead. The gold lead is at, let's see, about almost 6.5, 7K right now in favor of Kedstars, and they're going to try and probably move for this Baron would probably be their next move, or possibly this Drake as well to keep stacking those Drakes up.
Yeah, they're going to be taking the Ocean Drake here. No real contestation possible out for CNB, and this is just Kedstars choking out CNB. The 3K gold lead is now up to about 6.5K, so Kedstars extending their lead right now, choking out CNB, taking their jungle, taking their farm. Well, they can't really take their farm, but so.
Oh, they take their jungle.
Yeah, they take their jungle, so they take their farm, and the gold lead continues to extend. The Fort Dragon going over to Kedstars, so they have a clear win condition in that Infernal Drake. They have Baron available to them as well right now. Yang has his teleport, so if they wanted to make a Baron play, they could try to set something up there. Tower in the bot side of the map going to be going down in favor of Ked here. Rotation over to the mid lane. Tier 2 still standing for CNB, but I don't imagine that's going to be so for too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, those bushes can only hold so much. I mean, I feel like Headstars, their next objective as of right now, they wait for the Elder Drake to spawn, would probably to try and set up for the Baron so they can push down these towers with these 3 Infernal Drakes currently on their side and try and get some finish off a few of these last few outer towers.
Yeah, Yang putting some pressure there on the bot side of the map as we are seeing the Zhonya's out from the Echo. A little bit missed time there by the Rakan. Is it going to find the knock-up? But it does force the Echo back to base. Wasp going to be backing as well. Looks like they're giving up the tier 2 as we speak. So that's going to be falling here in a few moments. Super Mini is pushing the top side of the map right now. Actually, the Echo going to be back in time. So they're still going to try to put up a defense here.
Yeah, they're seriously waiting for
on the
minions.
backside finds a slicing Maelstrom. Stuns up 3. Not going to find anything though. Echo forced to use that Chrono Break out to safety. Lep looking for the engage here. Flash body slam. He knocks Lucian back in the team. Forces the flash away. Revolta's still alive. A great engage here from the Rakan. The Syndra stun. And this is the fight for Kedstars.
Woo! Nice. That was an excellent quickness engage by Rakan, followed up by the Syndra just blowing up everybody. And this fight's just still not over.
Yeah, Lucian looking to clean up a kill here. It looks like this could be the game. They have 3 members down on the side of CNB. They're going to be taking the Nexus Tower. So Kedstars looking to pick up their first win of the season here over CNB. 8-2 here for Ked, finishing this one up at 33 minutes. Big plays here from that Kennen. The slicing Maelstrom set the play up initially. Then the great charm from Rakan. What a game here in the CBLoL.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Kedstars have secured at least 1 point for themselves, because at the very least they will get at least a tie. So they will at least they'll get 1 point at the very least in this, but they'll probably want to try and get 3 points and get themselves back into this. As we go over this fight from earlier, no, this was actually First Blood. Young didn't even see. Didn't have that bush warded. He just walked straight into a first blood. Though that was about one of the few bright spots for CMB. Though they tried to make a bright spot out of this play, Rakan was dashing around, jumping around, and ended up getting caught by the Echo Stun. But as Rakan is extremely mobile, was just dashing around, and that excellent slicing Maelstrom by Yang, able to just stun up the whole team, allowing his team to reset. While he did go down, he did take two with him at the beginning of that fight. Lip also going down, being slowed by the Blade of the Rune King, and just got basically trapped. And that led to that second tower for Keed, as they were able to take the top tower after that. And this was the engage that basically both teams tried to engage at once. Tim Owens tried to jump onto the backline with the Echo. Yang tried to Maelstrom in the backline with the jump with his ulti, but as it looked almost, again, it looked well for CMB. They had the knockup. They knocked up Lucian, but Lucian was able to flash and reset himself. And oh man, that charm by Rakan, followed up by the Syndra Scatter the Weak, just basically shut down the entire team and blew them up. And pretty much it was just basically clean up from this point forward. As Echo tried to pick up something, run away, Karma just got run down. And basically that was it, and KedStars ended up taking up this Game 1 victory.
Yeah, so KedStars, like you said, they're confirming at least 1 point. They did have the unfortunate loss there last week to ONE Esports, which we will be seeing in our second block here. If you are going to be giving out an MVP here, Game 1 of this matchup, who are you giving it to?
I'd say it's very close. Each member of the team made some excellent plays throughout the fight and throughout this game, and I would have to give it to Rakan by just dashing around, starting those engages, getting that excellent engage at that last fight, and basically charming up and knocking up members for Syndra to just line them up for Syndra to blow them up.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. That last team fight, so crucial for the Rakan. He did set up the pick on a Minerva, had a lot of great plays there in earlier team fights. I have to give a special shout out there to the Kennen, though. He did play well. Yang on that Kennen right here, as we are going to see a very, very big slicing Maelstrom, which really busted the game open, and that's one of the reasons why the Kennen played so well. He had very big slicing Maelstroms on that AP Kennen, which you don't normally see.
Yeah, usually on AD Kennen, your Maelstroms just tickle a little bit, and you're usually just a stun bot for that. But luckily, Yang was able to get ahead enough to really kind of just hit the stun off and just whittle people down. And yeah, so that was pretty much the story of the game. This Drakes that KedStar was able to gain, and they were able to capitalize on that advantage and make it so that way they can pretty much control the game completely through just the dragons.
Yeah, it was excellent jungle control there from the Graves. We are going to be taking a short break here before Game 2, as we'll be bringing you back the action here between KedStars and CMB in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Look into my eyes and show me your adventures I haven't seen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Game 2 between CNB Esports and KED Stars. Game 1 going over at KED. We have our bans coming off the board right now. Varus taken off the table, as well as Olaf and Lee Sin. I almost forgot to introduce ourselves. My name is Jay Fortune, play-by-play. Join with me again is Nezzy, your color caster. And how does CNB get themselves back into this one?
Well, apparently they're going to start by subbing out Tim Owens for Bash in the mid lane. Apparently, that's the one way to get someone back in. I guess they do have their summon runner Bash in, so I guess they're going to give Tim Owens a bit of a breather. And I guess they're going to bring in the fresh Bash. I guess one advantage of bringing somebody in for the second game is that they're fresh in as far as mindset, as opposed to Tim Owens, who might be a bit tilted after that last game. I mean, he played okay on the Echo, but his team was unfortunately unable to get the victory.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was really a huge problem for his team, but it looks like they're going to try to keep things fresh, spice things up there, as Elise taken off the table there, one of the strongest junglers, so Elise and Elise taken off, as well as the Olaf, a few of your stronger picks there, and it looks like, I think Kennen has really risen in strength the last few weeks for whatever reason, and I see a lot more priority on that AD Kennen now.
Yeah, I think it's just the rise of like Galio and all these top lane tanks have forced somebody, a carry top laner that can kind of force these tanks back. And Kennen seems to be the main contender to do it. As we saw, like, Yang on the Kennen was really pushing at the Gragas, and they're just going to swap top laners. The top laners are just going to swap sides. Lep's going to be most likely running the AD Kennen top lane, and Yang is most likely going to be running the Gragas top lane.
Yeah, so KED taking the Gragas away, gonna go back for that Rakan, as Essa had a very good game on that Rakan, so we gave him our MVP. Definitely shows his mastery of that champion. Surprised that they didn't take it off the table. Lucian being hovered here by Minerva. Could be flexed in the mid lane, could be flexed down into that bot lane, gonna be locked in, so at the very least, taking away the duo of Lucian Rakan.
Yeah, but there's also Xayah Rakan as well that is still up for KED Stars to take. I mean, Bash could pick up the Xayah for his team, sort of. Basically, it could be, of course, removing the mystery of the Lucian, as Lucian, if they pick Xayah now, would be definitely a Lucian mid. But they're going to pick Braum, most likely they're hovering Braum. It's most likely going to be locked in. They'll keep that mystery going. So, Lucian Braum, if the Lucian does go to the bottom lane, is a very potent lane because of Lucian's double shot that basically procs two basically it procs 2 stacks of Braum's passive instead of 1 stack of Braum's passive. And looks like Kedstar's are hovering Ashe. I'd rather them pick the Xayah because Zyrakan is extremely strong lane, and I still haven't seen it picked today. I mean, I'd rather have it with Xayah instead of Ashe, but I know Ashe is a good AD carry in her own right, but I'd still pick the Xayah over the Ashe.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to be taking that Ashe down there in the bot lane. It's very useful. You tend to see it going for those utility builds now after the nerf to Blade of the Rune King. So we'll be seeing that Ashe with that Essence Reaver, using that arrow on cooldown if possible, getting picks onto the side of CMB. Looks like Nidalee taking off the board. Interesting to see that ban. Syndra going to follow, so trying to take that one away from Takeshi. They saw that as possibly a problem pick for them.
Yeah.
Waiting to see what that next ban here for Kedstar's is.
Yeah, I mean, Takeshi had an excellent game on that Syndra, able to follow up on the Rakan engages, basically blasting away the entire team after an excellent engage by Essa with the Rakan, running with the quickness as well as the grand entrance, basically knocking them up and charming them, keeping them in place for a Scare of the Week. So they don't want to run against that Syndra again, so they want to avoid that. Neither do they run against the LeBlanc, and Graves also being banned away from Minerva, because I guess they really don't want to go against the Graves, or they don't feel like picking it up for themselves.
Yeah, Graves still strong, although he has been taken down the totem pole a little bit there with the change to his kit. I guess you'd call it a nerf. Rumble locked in, so it looks like that will be the Gragas jungle here for Revolta. Switching this one up, I don't think Rumble has the greatest time against Kennen, so it's interesting to see that matchup, but Doran Shield is so good that it's maybe not an issue anymore.
Yeah, I mean, once I saw that Raze ban, after I said, I'm like, oh wait, I was wondering why they're still banning junglers. That means, I should have meant that they already had their jungler in the Gragas, and with that, Gragas is going to be going into jungle. Obviously, he's not as good as he used to be back in the old Gragas Rek'Sai days, where the teams would simply just trade 2 back and forth. And Averna going again for the Ivern, Ori also being picked up. So a few shields as well as a Braum protection. So there basically looks like it's a Protect the Lucian comp from the looks of things. They have 80 Kennen to slow stuns as well as Split Push. So CMB is going to be going for a Protect the Lucian comp from both of things.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that Lucian build ends up going with. Is he going to go for a crit, or that Essence Reaver crit build, or will he be going for the more commonly Blade of the Rune King builds? We are seeing the Talia locked in for Takeshi there. Another control mage to his name, as he did play quite well on that Syndra last game. We have interesting compositions out here. We have playmaking support in the bot lane there for Ket, a very protective support for CNB. How are you seeing these compositions playing out?
Well, I mean, Lucian Braum is very strong early, as, I mean, Ashe has the volley to basically push the Lucian back, and Rakan can definitely make engages, so I think the bot lane, I think both bot lanes can fight early. I would have rather had the Xayah than the Ashe on the side of Kedstar's, but I mean, Ashe still is a great AD carry on. I can push out with volley, can really put the pressure on the Lucian because of the range difference. But if Braum's able to land a stack of his passive and Lucian's able to follow up, it could mean bad news. So it depends on who gets to fight first as far as the bot lane goes. Mid lane, it's going to be Ori versus Talia. So that can honestly go either way. I think a lot of these mid lane matchups is just purely skill matchups. I don't think there are too many hard counters, especially into Orianna. So it depends on how good the Talia is, how good Takeshi can master this Talia, use those rocks, throw them in the face of Orianna, and try and get the advantage. Top lane, we have Kennen and Rumble. So I think Rumble, if he's able to get close with a Flame Spitter, he can really start to run some damage down to Kennen. But if Kennen can keep his distance, he can really keep himself away. If Lep can keep his distance on the Kennen, he can definitely run that lane over the Rumble.
Yeah, and we'll see what ends up happening there in the top lane. As first time we've seen a 2 carry matchup in quite a while, as we normally see the carry into tank or the tank into tank. Looks like it could be another slow early game here, though. We have scaling mid laners. The bot lane could see some sparks, though. The top lane, We might see a kill coming out from the cannon, but the junglers aren't the biggest pressuring junglers. The Gragas is someone who has a bit of a slow clear, albeit healthy, but slow. Ivern doesn't want to gank early, so we're seeing a 5-man stack here. Revolta spots it out, though. Gonna put a little bit of poke damage. Lep trying to find something there. Good poke out there from Takeshi. Rumble waiting in the wings as well, so they're just gonna back off there. Not gonna get the war that they maybe wanted in the bush, but they're still gonna get one over the wall. Gonna spot out where the Gragas is gonna be starting there. We are seeing the votes come out. Looks like Kedstar is getting a 73% pick on who's gonna win this one, so definitely the fan favorites here. But as we are on the Rift, though, we'll introduce both sides to you. We have Lep in the top lane on that Kennen, Minerva in the jungle on Ivern here for CMB. We have Vash in the mid lane on Orianna, PBO playing that Lucian AD carry, and Was supporting his team on Braum.
And on the red side, we have Headstars, currently 1-0 in this matchup, looking to close it out today. It's Young in the top lane on the Rumble, Revolta in the jungle on the Gragas, Takeshi in the mid lane with Talia, Junshio in the AD carry with that Ashe, and the Essa again on the Rakan support.
Yes, we are seeing a pretty unique counter jungle there from the Ivern. Apparently he knew something that about Minerva and how he likes to jungle with that Gragas, as he spotted out exactly what was going on. He knew the Gragas was going to take the Raptors, then rotate to his blue, and then come back for his red. So he counter jungled the red. He could 3-buff this Gragas now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Graves is a much harder champion to 3-buff because of the dueling ability that Graves has early. Gragas isn't as good as a duelist, and I think Minerva had a little bit of an experience last game. He's feeling a little safer going in and 3-buffing this Gragas, because Gragas is not the best duelist in the game.
Yeah, he definitely has a little bit of a shortcoming in that area, as he's more of a champion that wants a team fight. Of course, when Gragas picks up a few items, he does do quite a bit of burst damage there, as we are seeing Minerva smite away that scuttler there. As we are seeing Gragas hover around the mid lane here. He could be looking to contest that red buff, as he probably knows that Ivern hasn't taken his own quite yet. Ivern going to take his chickens right now. Body slam onto Minerva. Minerva getting pretty low, but no red buff for Revolta means that Minerva going to walk away from here.
Yeah, Minerva, like that Ivern, while you're able to really nicely move around and take a lot of the enemy's buffs with the basically set your mark and smite, setting those marks does take up a bit of health, and he's currently has a sliver left, and I don't think he's going to be able to get that red buff.
Yeah, Gragas body slam flashes onto Minerva. First blood over here to Revolta. I was able to see that on the map, what happened there. So flash body slam from Revolta, as Revolta had a ward in the bush, knew Minerva was there, picks up the first blood for the fat belly in the jungle.
Yeah, that tree just went timber and fell down early in this game. It's 4 minutes 15. Gragas is just going to get the first blood as well as a red buff for himself. Started getting himself back into this game. As we're going to look at the replay, because we cut away during that, nice flash body slam into the barrel. Blew him up like within a second. I mean, that was a lot of disrespect from Minerva. Didn't think that Revolta would actually go after him, but Revolta's been in this league a long time, and you don't trick a veteran that easy.
Indeed you don't. As the big belly picking up a kill right now. Looks like he is trying to take his chickens away. Minerva trying to smite that one away, but not going to find anything. It looks like he could be a bit tilted. He's really overextended right now against a Gragas who has double buffs.
Yeah, that's extremely risky. I mean, right now Gragas does have a kill for his troubles, but Minerva does have a jungle item, so Gragas did not go back to spend his money yet. So I think once he's going to be able to, he's going to probably pick up his jungle item, maybe a few wards or boots, most likely. That'll most likely be his pickups.
Yeah, definitely going to probably go for that. He may go for that Runic Echoes there, so he could pick up some damage if he wants to. But more than likely, you'll see the Tracker's Knife and a pair of boots for the big belly in the jungle. Maybe a little bit of AP, depends if he goes for Runic Echoes or for that Cinder Hulk. Going to be going for Runic Echoes, so taking that lead and trying to run with it. Gragas is quite good with Runic Echoes as he does a lot of burst damage, just aids him in that regards. He's sitting.
Yeah, yeah, he can definitely do that. As well as the other build is usually Cinder Hulk if he hasn't really done anything or he's a bit behind you. You can go Cinder Hulk on Gragas. Otherwise, if you manage to get First Blood, you're able to get ahead. Runic Echoes can definitely be a nice pickup.
Yeah, personally, I'm a big Gragas player myself. I like a Cinderhulk build with and you aid the damage by going instead of Colossus, end up picking up Thunderlords. So it's sort of like a trade-off. You go Cinderhulk instead of Colossus, and you trade the Thunderlords for the Runic Echoes type deal. But looks like he'll be going for the Runic Echoes. He has a Colossus to his name, so he's going to be very tanky coming to the mid game once he does pick up, maybe a Deadman's Plate after that Runic Echoes. As we are seeing pretty even CS across the board here. A little bit of an advantage for Orianna in the mid lane, but nothing too much. It's the main difference going to be in that jungle.
Yeah, and basically it looks like both teams are kind of roaming around trying to put wards into each other's jungles and try to see where everybody is. Try to figure out where everyone is. Junglers on other sides. Ivern continuing to try and look for anything, but most of the camps are gone except the blue buff will be spawning in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, blue buff going to be spawning. Red buff is up for the Gragas right now. Looks like Ivern trying to contest this blue. But it's not going to be up very quickly here. Oh, it did just spawn actually. As we are seeing the wall come out from Talia. She's not going to be able. She's not going to take it quite far enough. As Wasp getting fairly low. Teleport's coming out here. Rakan not going to be able to find the knock-up. Orianna waiting in the wings. She has Shockwave available to her, but it's not going to be used. It looks like the fight's going to be disengaged, but that is the teleport down for the top laner of Kedstar. So cooldown. They did get a fairly important cooldown. Kennen going to have that teleport available to him, but a lot of pressure on this dragon because Kennen can teleport in and Rumble can't.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. I think Kedstar was trying to look for a bit more, probably a few kills into the Air Drake, but unfortunately they didn't get anything, nor did they get the Air Drake. So now the TP advantage is heavily in favor of CMB as Lep does have his TP up to run in with a Maelstrom, which he currently does have since he is level 7.
He does. The blue buff did go over to Talia, I believe, so Kedstar is able to pick up their own blue. As the Ivern going to be handing off his to the Orianna, as that's what Ivern can do, which is take his own blue and then give one to his teammate. Gragas did just pick up his red buff. The map is sort of being reset right now as both teams try to reestablish vision controls. So wards were expiring there.
Yeah, I mean, vision control is important in these early stages, especially if you get some wards, some offensive wards in the enemy jungle. Because if you get some offensive wards, you can really figure out where the jungler is. Miss Shockwave from Vash.
Interesting to see that one go down, but he was trying to protect the pink ward, and he was willing to give up his ultimate for it. Gragas going to be heading over to the area, though. Looks like he'll be taking that pink ward off the map. Vision ward, rather.
Yeah,
Sorry.
vision ward. It used to be pinks.
It used to be pinks.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't think that was... I think he's trying to catch Takeshi while the pink ward is being taken, but Takeshi was able to run out of there before he was caught up in that, so that was a bit of a burnt ult, but it should be coming up soon as well as, 3-man.
Yeah, it looks like Gragas trying to find something there as well as the Rakan, but isn't going to find anything. Vash playing safe enough. Orianna has a lot of range to her, so not in any danger really.
When you... What are you going to say?
No, I was just going to start to narrate what was going on there as they tried to clear out a little bit of vision. Nothing important, though. Just trying to fill the air gaps there. But you were saying, though. Yeah,
Orianna does have the ability to move her ball around and basically a good amount of range. That's why she's probably one of the best control mages in the game right now. Talia is a decent control mage in her own right. I mean, depends. The thing with Talia, it depends on the skill of the person playing Talia and their ability to use the wall to try and use the wall to basically roam and cut off the enemy. I mean, I wish that wall early was a bit better used to try and cut off some of the members of CMB to make sure to secure a kill and make Yang's teleport worth it. But speaking of teleports, there really hasn't been too many plays. That Yang's teleport is almost up, so they didn't really take CMB didn't really take too much advantage over the teleport advantage that they had.
Yeah, they weren't able to find the fight. Although, if they do find it in the next 10 seconds or so, next 20 seconds or so, it will still be they still will have that global ultimate advantage. It looks like Lucian here trying to take down that turret. Has red buff right now, so Juzinho has to be a little cautious as the Lucian would be able to chase him down.
Yeah, that's the thing about Ivern is his ability to basically give off buffs, because not only he can take the buff for himself, he can share the buff with either one of his anyone on his team. Share the blue buff with the mid laner, share the red buff with the AD carry, especially if Ivern's on blue side, because it makes it easier for the AD carry to pick it up. If Ivern was on red side, it would most likely be the Ivern having to give it to the top laner if the top laner is sort of an AD top laner, or the mid laner would have to take it.
Yeah, it looks like Greg is trying to make play here on the top side of the map. He is in the area. Isn't going to get over the wall with the body slam, though. Very unfortunate. He had flash available to him. Likely would have been the flash body slam, but he isn't going to be able to find it, as we are seeing the glacial fissure come out from the Braum here on the bot side of the map. Nothing else expended. Looks like Oriana's going to get knocked up. She has shockwave, though. The flash body slam there. Vash is going to get away. Gragas going to miss the ultimate, though. Guessed wrong on where Vash ended up juking. And so, Summoner spell down for the mid laner as well as the jungler, but no kills traded.
Yeah, but it looks like Star is trying to set up some pressure in the mid lane, sort of maybe look for a dive if they have enough people, but I don't think they have the right angles, because it's kind of hard to initiate a dive from mid lane.
Yeah, they're not going to end up opting in for that, as the rest of Ked is going to back away. Gragas just going to go over to his wolves to pick those up. Continuing to farm on up. Has the full runic echoes to his name. Going to be working on what is very likely a Dead Man's Plate next, is what we're seeing as the common build for Gragas nowadays.
Yeah.
Another very slow game here in the early stages of this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Dead Man's Plate build on Gragas to get Dead Man's Plate after your item. I mean, Dead Man's Plate helps Gragas a bit, because Gragas can be kited out. He is a big, jolly old fat man, so he's gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a bit hard for him to try and catch up with people. So it would be, it'd be great in Revolto's best advantage to get the Dead Man's Plate, so he can usually Dead Man's Plate helps with usually with tanks who have a problem being kited out, so they have a little bit of move speed, so they can definitely avoid being kited.
Ivern flashing over the wall in order to secure that red buff, so that is some grade A trolling here from that Ivern. Picking up the red of Ked Stars. It has to feel bad if you are that Gragas, but I think you're at the point of the game where getting buffed here isn't that big of a deal. It looks like Gragas going to get engaged on. Shockwave comes out, but the Colossus proc will keep Revolta healthy, and Revolta just going to walk away from here. So Shockwave down. Can Ked use that to their advantage, though?
Yeah, but Takeshi does have his ultimate up with the wall, so if the side of PBO and Wasp do push up, they can probably try to use the wall to cut off the bot lane of CMB and try and get a kill. Because that's what you tried to Italia, but they're going to try and start the fight already.
Yeah, Glacial Fissure onto that Ashe, but the Concussive Blow passive never procs, and so the Juzinho will be safe. He did eat quite a bit of his health for that one, though. No pots to his name. But he did pick up the Blade of the Ruined King first on this Ashe. So it's not a build we've seen in a while. We are seeing a dive in the mid lane here. We have the body slam, and down he goes. Very clean. No one really taking a lot of damage inside of Ked. They're going to walk away from this one easy. Rumble going to rotate back up into the top lane, and that one had to have been a vision mistake or something along those lines, as Oriana didn't even see that one coming.
Yeah, there wasn't any vision on the top side jungle of CMB, so Gragas and Rumble were able to sneak in and go from behind, because Ivern was actually in the red side jungle of CMB, so there was a quick sneaky play from Keystars as they were able to sneak in and basically take the Oriana from behind and secure the kill for their mid laner.
Yeah, so we have 2 kills over the side of Ked right now. We're sitting about 1k gold up. It looks like they're trying to push for the bot lane turret as we are seeing the flash engage from Rakan. Going to knock him up on the tower as well as charm him with quickness as the equalizer comes out. Rumble trying to burn down the Lucian. Down he goes. Daisy getting very low as well as the Ivern pop. He goes. Next will be the Braum, and a great fight found from Ked Stars, and they're the ones taking first turret on the bot side of this map.
Yeah, that's what they needed, those roams to the bot lane, as in they were nearly about to lose their own bot lane turret, but they were able to turn it around. As we're going into the replay, I mean, there was the arrow from Ashton, Rakan engaged with the grand entrance, as well as the charm. Nice equalizer, because PBO had to dash through in order to try to escape, but he ended up going down to the Rumble, and Rumble just chased down the Braum while Ivern was just taken off on the other side by the rest of the team, and they're just going to pick up first brick from this.
They take first brick. They're going to rotate the Gragas over to the top side of the map as well to keep that turret as healthy as possible. Mid lane turret very, very low as well. It looks like they tried to make a move on that one, but weren't able to quite get it. Windrake's still up. I think they opted in for trying to go for those 2 turrets instead of the Windrake because, you know, just favoring the gold here. Is Windrake not the most highly coveted early on?
Yeah, they're
It's
Dragon
great in the
Orange.
mid game, but early game not great.
Yeah, like their Dragon RG in the first game was pretty good. Like they got 3 Infernals, managed to grab all 3 of them. But the first Drake ended up being a Cloud, and Cloud unfortunately isn't as prioritized as you would say an Infernal or a Mountain Drake. So they're willing to skip on that to get a few towers.
Yeah, Rift Herald is still up right now, so that could be something that they're trying to use, especially here in the mid lane. I think Rift Herald can one-shot that tower at this point.
I mean, the mid lane tower is really low. As we discussed earlier, Rift Herald is probably best used in mid lane due to the distance between the outer tower and the second tier tower. And it looks like we're going to have a bit of a movement in the top lane.
Yeah, Gragas is there as well as the duo lane of Ked Stars, Jusinho, and Essa. Putting the pressure up here in top. Top lane tower about 50% HP right now. Rumble had got a little bit of chip damage there on the top side of the map. It looks like ping's coming out for the Ivern. Not going to find him, though. Going to clear away a little bit of vision here in the river. It looks like they're trying to hover around this Rift Herald, so they could be trying to take this right now.
Yeah, they could be trying to take the Rift Herald or potentially bait in CMB for a fight by the Rift Herald hit. And it could be used for either option. I mean, there is only maybe a minute and a half that Herald's going to be on the Rift before heading right back to the Void. And if it's not taken now, it's probably not going to be taken at all.
Yeah, Kedstar's actually up quite a bit of gold. 3k gold here at 18 minutes is nothing to sneeze at. And rather to the last game, they had the kill lead and the tower lead for quite a long time, but didn't build up much of a gold lead until the very end. This game, they have built up a little bit of gold lead here.
Yeah, it's currently, let's see, 27.7 to 31.2.
3.5.
That's about a 3.5k gold lead for the side of Kid Stars, as they're just going to hand their blue buff off to their mid laner, who's going to head back and just resume the laning phase in mid lane.
Yeah, as the game has slowed down a little bit here, as Ked were able to find a pick a few moments ago, and they're going to reset the map, try to get some vision control, try to set up another pick here, try to get another objective off of one of those, as Rift Herald going to be heading back into the Void here in about 20 seconds. So no Rift Herald this game. Dragon's still up, though. Mid lane tower fairly low. Let's see what ends up happening here as the gank on the bot side of the map forces the flash away by the Kennen. So no flash available to the Ninja Hamster.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yep.
Go on.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately, that flash, usually flash is used for Kennen as a, basically as a sort of engage for the ultimate. Obviously, the ultimate's not going to do too much damage because of it's an AD cannon and not an AP cannon, but still, that's usually a decent avenue for the cannon to try and engage using an ultimate. Otherwise, it would normally be a Hextech Crota Belt, but this is AD cannon, so you only have one way to sort of get a surprise engage other than straight up running in, and that's using your flash, which will be down for about 3.5 to 5 minutes, depending on what Lep took in his masteries.
So after that gank on the bot side, getting the flash up to Kennen, and maybe some superior map movement, they take a tower on the top side of the map. They get the dragon on the bot side. And that means Kedstar continuing to extend this gold lead to about 4.5K here. And getting an early, well, not really early, but a slight dragon advantage.
Yeah, they're going with the dragons again, and fortunately, I'm not sure we'll be able to. If you were able to catch what dragon will be coming up next, it will be a mountain actually. So this is a mountain we didn't see any last game. A mountain's a pretty good Drake. Every stack gives you about 10% per stack to damage towers and other objectives, as well as future dragons or the Baron. And I think that's going to be important for whoever gets that. Will have definitely. I think CMB would really want to get it to try and get themselves back in this game, give themselves more damage towards these structures as they try to take them later in the game. Keystar would probably want to get it. More dragons is better for when the Elder Drake comes up, as well as the reason I said before. Mountain's really good, especially for sieging down these objectives.
Yeah, which they will be trying to do right now as they set up a play on his mid lane turn. They catch the Braum, though, on the wrong side of the wall. But Daisy going to tank up the members of Ked, and that means it's going to keep Braum alive. But Daisy is down right now. They are trying to defend this tier 1, though, with everything they've got. As they have five members mid here for CMB. Rumble going to rotate down to the bot side of the map. That's going to force the rotation out of Kennen as well. And Ashe going to go top, so they realize they're not going to get mid, and they just go farm the side lanes.
Yeah, I mean, they do send the Rumble one side lane. They don't really have too much of a good side lane threat. They only really have the Rumble for side lanes. Usually, you don't want to send your AD carry alone for the side lanes unless it's just going to be a safe pickup for farm, which Ashe was able to get out for safety. I mean, Ashe doesn't have too much mobility, so it's a bit dangerous to send Ashe alone without maybe like Rakan with her to keep her safe. But there's Equalizer.
Gonna burn down Vash and Minerva. Here's the Glacial Fissure, though. Continuing to try to get something. Braum gonna get knocked up. Gonna try to get knocked up again by the Rakan, but isn't gonna find anything. Flash out here from the Orianna, and the mid tier 1 falls.
Yeah, the blue turret is now destroyed. That is 3 turrets on the side for Kedstar, 0 turrets on the side for CMB. And whoa, that was a bit close there.
Arrow gonna miss, but Lep is getting burned down right now. Forces the slicing Maelstrom out. The Braum trying to save his teammate, but the knockback by Talia. Lep is continuing to burn. Will he fall? The Ignite gets him. So Rakan picking that one up. Gragas taking down the Braum. Culling comes out to try to clear as much of the minions as possible, as they're just trying to keep this tier 2 alive.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when Kennen necessarily doesn't get the lead. Only having like a 20 CS lead out of lane, that was a first death. I mean, this Kennen currently only has the Blade Rune King and the Hex Drinker, so he's not 100% line yet. As we're going to look at this replay, Azure coming in, nice dodge from Lep, but eventually he runs into the Rumble and just gets straight up burns down. Had to use his Maelstrom, but that was just not enough, as he just gets knocked up, shoved around, and it was just slowly getting burned and ignited, as Waz tried to save him, but he ended up going down himself as well.
Yeah, he tries to save his teammate, but isn't going to be able to do so, and also falls as well on that play, as we are seeing the CNB clearing out mid lane right now. Baron has, of course, spawned. We are at 24 minutes 30 seconds into the game. Kedstar has quite an advantage right now, so that's a very real objective for them to take. As we are seeing top lane getting pushed in right now. They could look to make a rotation there, or try to get a pick in the jungle.
Yeah, but right now Kedstar does have about a 6k gold lead. They're pushing TBO back off this turret. And Was, where are you, buddy?
Yeah, the Wasp getting engaged on right now. Going to be knocked back into the team. Here comes the Cask. Wasp going to get knocked back once again. Will he fall? The Glacial Fissure comes out, but he'll survive barely.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to get around to that side, but he just met the entire team of Kedstar. And if he was not Braum and not a tanky support, he probably would have been dead.
Easily would have been popped there. Culling comes out right now to keep their tier 2 alive once again. He's going to save it for now. But the minions are gonna crash in once again. Rumble could be in a little bit of trouble here, but he's gonna be out of range of the shockwave, so nothing gonna happen to him. As we are seeing Ash take down this tier 2. So Kedstar's just playing I believe this is a perfect game right now. I don't want to jinx it, but no towers down. They have the only dragon that spawned. They have no deaths either, so they could definitely look to take a perfect game.
Yeah, they're currently on track, but I mean, it'd be nice to get the perfect game, but most importantly is getting the W. If they have to give up something, they can't take too many risks just to try and get like a dragon for their perfect game. They need to play this so that way they don't just make something silly and end up blowing the lead that they currently have.
Yeah, the lead that they have is quite daunting as they're up about 7k gold right now at 26 minutes. More than double what they had in the last game at this point. Vision control getting set up again. It is a Mountain Drake that has spawned, and with their lead, that Mountain Drake means they could sneak a Baron right after if they do end up picking this one up. Ash is going to be solo this one out. No contest here from CNB, and there's not a whole lot they can do. If you are CNB, how do you get back in on this game?
Well, they need to somehow pick off somebody, whether it be the Ash or Natalia, or even the Rumble. They need to get some of this damage off the side of Kedstar. Mostly, if Kedstar goes for the Baron, they need to contest it to try and get them like either in the middle of a Baron while they're taking it, so they're definitely taking a bit of chip damage from the Baron, so that way they're weakened by the time CNB would start fighting, and sort of make Kedstar choose between fighting or finishing off the Baron, which can sometimes be too hard of a choice and lead for a Baron throw. So I think CNB's path for victory and trying to get back in this game is through the Baron.
Yeah, as Kids has looked pretty decent here in the macro, so I don't know if they'll be making that kind of mistake, but it is the only thing you can hope for. Interesting to see this Kennen build coming out here. Has a Phantom Dancer, no Runons yet, so not opting in for any wave clear, which is interesting, but he has a bannered up minion here in the bot side of the map, and Rumble has a bit of trouble clearing that.
Yeah, banner minions are usually good against AP champions who basically, with the banner minion, they're immune to magic damage. You cannot magic damage, but Lep isn't immune to magic damage, unfortunately.
As the redemption comes out, trying to heal up Lep, but Lep taking a lot of damage, going to start burning down. Slicing Maelstrom comes out, as well as the Shockwave, but it isn't going to be enough. Cast comes out, not going to find anything. Glacial Fissure on the other side of the map isn't going to set up a kill either, but likely used to disengage the Braum there. As Ked get another pick, could use that extra man advantage to take down this mid tier 2 or just get some vision control.
And most likely be for vision control over that Baron, trying to get some more wards down and keep their foothold on this game. As if you're able to control the vision of Baron and they can't see it, then they can't really do anything to contest it. They'll just be walking in blind. It'll literally be Ori walking into a blind forest, and without vision, you can't really see where they're going, and you could just easily get baited into another pick.
As we are seeing, maybe Talia trying to knock up Minerva. He's gonna find him, do a bit of poke damage, force him not to back, and that's gonna mean that they're gonna start the Barons. They know Ivern wants it back, but at the very least, they're going to start contesting it. Flash out from Was here, gonna get knocked up by the Rakan with that grand entrance, but they're not gonna find anything here as the arrow did miss after that flash. So Kennen to the bot side of the map right now. Rumble with his team on the top side. This could allow the Kennen to start split pushing a bit, as we are seeing Rakan. He's going to use the grand entrance once again, gonna use the quickness to charm up a few, and this is a big fight here. The equalizer is out. Burning down is that Braum as well as the Ivern. Next could be that Orianna. Forces the flash away. So they have two picks here. Jungler is down. Kedstars could look for this Baron. I think that this Baron, though, will cost them the perfect game, as Kennen is going to take down the tier 1 on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, it does look like there will be no perfect game for Kedstar, but it's more important that they get the win, and I believe making the tower trade for the Baron is the right choice.
Absolutely, but it would have been nice to see that perfect game. Haven't seen one quite a while here, as we are seeing the replay.
Yeah, that knock up and into the equalizer. They were fighting in a corridor, which is really dangerous. I mean, it gives Rakan a straight line to run down for the quickness. Gives pretty easy choke point engages, especially with the wall, as well as Rumble, who can just lay down equalizer and just burn people down over time. And if you're just in that corridor, you can't really move or do anything.
Yeah, and we saw that as Ivern and Braum ended up falling there, and both of them sitting at 0-3. This is definitely not the game you're looking for if you were CNB. CNB was a team that I was expecting a little bit out of here, as they did give Ints a run for their money yesterday, or last weekend rather. Weren't able to pick up the win, but Ints being one of the better teams in this league, it was unfortunate to see that they weren't able to pick up the win, or weren't able to keep that momentum going forward.
Yeah, I mean, they did in the second game. They nearly got the win in that game, which would have caused a tie for the series to tie up Ints, but they kind of threw at the end, and Ints was able to pretty much pick up the win. And that pretty much left CMB. They were that close, and I mean, I was hoping that CMB would put up more of a fight. Then again, they still aren't. The game doesn't end until the next explodes, so maybe they still have something up their sleeve. Because if they have something, they better pull it out, because they're about to slowly bleed and lose this game.
Yeah, tier 2 falling on the bot side as well right now. That's over 10k gold, about 11.5k for Kedstars, and that's a nearly insurmountable lead. I haven't seen actually that big of a lead in quite a while, as I've been seeing gold leads not extremely huge. The wall comes out, blocking Kennen off from the rest of his team. That's going to allow them to keep sieging down this inhibitor tower. It's getting fairly low. Minions will take it down, so inhib tower does fall. Mid lane inhib tower will fall shortly, as well as the Rumble winning the wings. Maybe looking for an equalizer here over the wall. Is it going to find it? It could start sieging down this inhibitor. It looks like that's what they're going to opt into. Rumble's on the bot side right now, but he can rotate over fairly quickly. Inhibitor is getting plinked away right now. It will end up falling, so mid inhibitor down. And the bot lane inhibitor will likely fall as well. And like you said, if they have anything up their sleeves, they got to use it now, as this game is looking dire.
Yeah, they're going to keep losing inhibitors over and over, and Pittsburgh can definitely go back, sort of reset, and get their gold, but they can also pick up this Infernal Drake on the way back. But, I mean, they're probably going to send 2 back and leave the rest to take the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, it looks like that's what it'll do. They have Rumble, Ashe, and Gragas there. They'll end up burning this down in about a second and a half there. So, Infernal Dragon for Kedstars means that they're going to get a little bit of scaling as well. So if they weren't already far enough ahead, that they now have an Infernal Drake. So additional 6% AD and AP. It's nice for that Rumble, Ashe, and Talia.
Yeah, I mean, CMB has been let nowhere near a Drake. They haven't gotten a Drake all series, and Elder is going to be the next Drake that comes up. So Kedstar is currently having 3 Drakes in their repertoire, so they'll definitely get the extra burn with the Drake that they have, as well as increasing the power of the Drakes they currently have once they have that Elder Drake acquired.
Yes, I don't even know if it'll get to that point, though, where the Elder Drake will spawn. They have super minions pouring in the mid lane as well as the bot lane right now. Looks like they're just going to try to siege up the top lane. And I seriously doubt at this point that it'll make it to the Elder.
Yeah, that's usually what you want to do. When you have 2 inhibitors down and there's no monsters to take on the Rift, you're going to have to get that last tower down. And instead of just trying to constantly run it down the 2 lanes they're already pushing, you might as well just push the final lane that still has a tower, still has an inhibitor. Wall's coming in.
Yeah, Wasp stuck on the wrong side of this one once again. They're not going to really find anything. It will allow them to keep getting some chip damage on this tower, though, sitting about 50% HP. Super minions pouring in the mid and bot lane right now. Kennen does not have the wave clear to deal with these, so they'll have to rotate over the Lucian. And the minion wave could be crashing in here in a second, so this could mean that the next inhibitor tower will fall. Ashe getting some poke damage right now. Rumble pushing in the mid lane. Gragas is on the other side of the wall as well, too. Shockwave onto Ashe. She's getting fairly low, but the heal comes out right now. The culling comes out as a response to Redemption going to heal her up. The Gragas getting fairly low as well, and so a bit of a mess up here on that siege is going to force Kedstars away from the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to keep them away for a little bit, but I think they still have a bit of control. Ash is still at least a little bit above half health. She does have the Blade of the Rune King, so she'll be able to heal up any minions that could possibly even make it past her volley or any of the wave clear from the side of Kidstar. But right now, this Kennen has to be regretting not getting the Runans earlier, because he has to basically try and take down each minion one by one and try to clear them out. Because that Runans does help with wave clear, and that's what the Kennen is lacking right now, is these minions keep pouring in.
Yeah, but for now, CNB gonna hold on to their base, as they did successfully defend that top lane inhib tower momentarily. Baron going to be spawning here in 45 seconds. It's very likely what will end up deciding the game. So if Ked ends up picking up that Baron, I don't know if there's really anything CNB can do to stop them at that point. But CNB will likely contest that Baron. We'll see what ends up happening, because that could be the Baron throw you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's currently a 67-56. So that's about about 11k gold lead for the side of Kidstar. So they're extremely ahead. So I think once this Baron comes up, they're just going to try and burn it down as fast as possible.
It doesn't look like there is going to really be a contest here from Kedstars or from CMB, and that means I don't know if there's really a lot CMB can do. Once they have this Baron, you can almost take the base with minions.
Yeah, that's the importance of getting a bottom inhibitor before you do Baron, is because that inhibitor's going to, without that inhibitor, the bottom lane's just going to be spewing super minions down the throat into the baits of CMB, so they'll have to constantly be down there on the opposite side of the map of Baron. So, and it works similarly if you want to get like an Elder Drake, you want to take the top lane inhibitor, so that way that lane is constantly pushing in. So basically the pressure on CMB right now with the 2 down inhibitors is leaving them unable to contest anything outside of their own base.
The inhibitors are spawning right now, though, as it looks like Ked trying to take down the mid inhibitor. Super minions on the bot side of the map, though, with that rumble, means that they should be able to take that bot lane inhibitor as well. The mid lane inhibitor drops. Bot lane inhibitor going to drop momentarily, so 2 inhibs down. Could rotate up for that top lane inhibitor tower. Or they could try to siege down the Nexus if they want. They do still have the super minions coming in a moment. But they are going to opt in for just going for that mid lane, or that top lane inhibitor tower.
Yeah, they needed to try and stall a bit and wait for their minions to finally catch up, because they didn't have a minion wave. So now they're going to have to wait for these minions, have that cannon minion sort of chip away. Wall comes down to try and cut off the rest of the team. They're trying to set something up.
Yeah, Wasp was knocked into the side of Kedstars, but he's able to get out. There comes the grand entrance as well as the quickness. Here comes the equalizer as well. Wasp getting very, very low, and the inhibitor tower falls. Down goes Wasp. PBO could follow next. The cask is going to pick him up. Lep going to use that slicing maelstrom. And Oriana going to fall next as well. And that's going to be the game here for Kedstar. So Kedstar is going 2-0 on the day. Going to pick up their first match of the season. They're sitting at 3 points right now, as they did end up falling to ONE Esports last weekend, but they do pick up the win over CNB, and that puts them in a little bit better spot in the standings.
Yeah, but on the flip side, CNB is now still at 0 points, and in CBLoL there is still auto relegation. So if you finish in that last place spot, you'll end up going automatically down to Challenger Series. You can't even fight for your spot in the promotion tournament. So, I mean, CMB barely avoided, they didn't get playoffs, but they barely avoided going into the relegation tournament, finishing 5th last season, and they're going to need to try and improve their play, or else they're just going to head either to the promotion tournament or to possibly automatically back to Challenger Series.
That's not something that your team's going to want to see if you are CNB, but to go back to the game at hand, who are you giving MVP to for the game specifically? And then why don't you tell me if you have a specific player you want to give the whole match MVP to?
Well, after we look through these replays, nice engage from Essa on Rakan, able after the Ash arrow, and nice red carpet from the Rumble, and this is a fight that really began to start the lead off for Kidstar, as basically that fight in the bottom lane really began to kick off their lead, and that this even became worse when Lep barely avoiding the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but end up running straight into a Rumble, just getting straight up burned down, knocked up, knocked around. He was not having a fun time, while it's of course in that fight as well, and ended up going down. Basically, these were just constantly. I think it was down to basically the side of CMB constantly being picked, and ended up just slowly losing the game off of that, and basically giving up a lot of leads. And Lep having a little over aggression, he was able to get away, but he thought he could get more. But he ended up just walking himself right back into his own grave. As even with the shockwave, it was not enough. As Lep kept going down, kept getting caught out, and nice engage from the Rakan, able to go use that corridor to really get the charm on everyone and keep those guys locked down. And basically the Talia wall was able to cut off. Unfortunately, that was a bit of a miscalculated Talia wall, but that was perfectly fine. As right now this siege, another nice engage from Essa, and basically keeping these engages going, keeping these the side of CMB locked down. I think after seeing these replays, I still have to give it to Essa for the player of the game and player of the match.
Yeah, Essa did play incredibly well on Rakan. It's really, I've said this over and over again. I think I talked about it last week. It's so fun watching good Rakans, and he just offers a lot of playmaking potential with that grand entrance and with that quickness. It's really fun to see a support like him play. So I'm going to agree with you here. Essa getting our match and game MVP once again. But that's going to be it for us for the next few minutes, as we are going to take a short break here before our next matchup between ONE and INTS Esports. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Look into my eyes and show me your adventures I haven't seen.
take my hand, and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air, and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, get ready to begin, and just levitate.
two, one.
Alright guys, back with the CBLoL, and I am Louis Behrman, joined here again by Greg J-Force Joyce, and we're bringing you the second game of the night between INTZ and Team 1. INTZ obviously known as the former champions of the CBLoL and Brazilian powerhouse galore, coming in as the favorites. On the other side we have Team 1 though, coming up from the Challenger Series and putting a decent dent into the Keat Stars to actually beat INTZ in the last playoffs. So we'll see where this game is going.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how Team 1 pairs against one of the traditional Brazilian powerhouses. They played very well against Keat, and we saw Keat completely dismantle. Wow, I keep blanking on the name again.
The CNB.
They just completely dismantled them. And Ants had a rough time with them, so we'll see how that fares as Team ONE did beat Keat Stars. So we're seeing the bans come off the table here, no surprise in the Galio. Kennen seen a pretty big resurgence as of late. Elise, one of the top junglers, you always see her ban or Khan taken off the table. Essa had a great performance on him last series, so we'll see what ends up getting picked here first. Looks like it might be Lee.
Lee is the first pick, so I'm not sure if we're at 7.10 or 11 here. Do you know? 7-11. Okay, that kind of explains, while not much, why Zach wasn't picked up immediately here. Obviously, he was nerfed a bit, but he's still one of the best junglers right now, and he's still open. Rakan being banned is kind of an interesting one, because I do think Xayah is the more threatening of the two, but I think one, kind of looking for the Lucian, and they think they can handle it quite nicely.
Yeah, so they are going to pick up Lucian Braum right now, Xayah in response, and I think right now, more players are accustomed with like Xayah's playstyle. She's very good as an AD carry. I've always thought that ultimate Featherstorm is incredibly strong. But I think that Rakan is finding his place in the meta. I think that some more people are starting to pick him up, and playmaking supports are getting a little bit better too. I think we're a little bit less favoring the Lulu Karmas of the world, and we are getting into the Thresh Bards. And Rakan falls into that same style of support as a Thresh or a Bard. So we do see the Thresh locked in, Olaf as a response, fairly good into something like a Thresh. Last series ONE was in, I do believe Olaf was played in the top lane, so I think this is a flex pick that they have practiced. So either top or jungle. I believe this Olaf can be flexed either of those roles. But as I was saying, I think that Rakan is a fairly decent support right now. I think we'll see him picked up a little bit in the meta.
Yeah, he's definitely decent. He gets some really nice long range engages down with his ultimate plus flash. Really kind of unforeseeable and just overall confusing in the fight. Team 1 here deciding for, I think, a bit more of a team fighting style comp. Lucian obviously a great team fighting AD carry, especially early on, but also later still with decent amount of damage. The problem is obviously he has to stay close, so he's a bit more endangered in the later game. But together with Braum, he's gonna try to bring terror to this bottom lane, and it's one of the best combos in the game, I think.
Yeah, that concussive blow passive, of course, pairs nicely with that double shot from Lucian. So we are seeing Jason Ari's the last two bans here. Ari has been a staple of the mid lane. It looks like Inso's trying to pinch that mid lane pool. That's going to bring a Orianna as a response. I think Inso was anticipating this. It'll be interesting to see what they have as a response to this pick, as the mid lane pool was pinched so much they had to pick that Orianna, but that still allows them to keep that Olaf as a flex option here. So depending on what Ints opts for in the top lane, that Olaf will go top or jungle.
Yeah, the thing is, Team 1 really not with many junglers left, that they can pick up. They still could pick up the Kha'Zix or the Graves, but really not many left on the table. Maybe Ivern is still there as well, but on the other side we see Darius being locked in. I like it.
So Darius getting locked in because they do anticipate this going to be an Olaf top, But Olaf actually is pretty decent. It's really a skill matchup between the two, but between like levels 2 to 4, Olaf wins that pretty decently. So I've actually played this matchup quite a few times as the Olaf. It's gonna beat the Rumble locked in, so it's gonna be Rumble in the top lane against the Darius. Interesting to see. Darius, one of those champions that you can't bully out as the Rumble. Whereas most melees you do hardcore, shove them in and stomp them. The Darius is a bit of a different story, as he can just kill you in your minion wave if he wants to. But the Olaf in the jungle means the Darius has to be careful about going too aggro on this Rumble.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Team 1 obviously solidifying here that they really want to play a team fighting style. And I do think one thing they are really looking forward to is the dragon spawn. And hopefully it will be either a mountain or an infernal drake, so that they first of all can snowball, but also can force a fight around that objective. Because really, if there's a cloud or ocean drake coming up there, they're not gonna have the pressure really to force INTZ into a fight early on, which really would suit their comp.
We'll see what ends up happening there. Looks like our casters here at CBLoL picking out the matchup to watch for is going to be Ayel versus Vert in the top lane. Darius against the Rumble. Vert, of course, picked up an MVP last weekend, so we'll see how well he performs against one of the powerhouses of CBLoL.
Yeah, that's gonna be quite interesting. Looking over the team of INTZ, you can obviously see kind of a pick style, forming there. They have the Weaver's Wall to set something up there, and then they have the lockdown with the insect plays from the Lee Sin, or the Featherstorm Blade Caller combo on the side of Mikau. So they definitely want to find people in off positions and just kill them relatively quickly, and they have the damage to do so.
In fact, they do. They have the Lee Sin to help them out in that regard. They have a bit of damage coming out of the jungle here in the early game. They have a tank up there in the top lane as well, but a pretty immobile tank. It's not the he's technically called a Juggernaut under Riot's balancing here. Very immobile. It's tough to get him in on the fight, but if he does get on that backline, if he's able to find Lucian, he's able to find Rumble, could do a lot of work. Riot stated when they created Darius, they made this champion to get pentakills. So we'll see if he's able to find something along those lines here, as it looks like we have fairly standard starts coming out.
It will also be interesting, obviously, to see what AO will pick up as items on that Darius. Obviously, the Black Cleaver, kind of a shoo-in, especially since his passive actually triggers the Black Cleaver stacks. But other than that, I guess you could go Ravenous Hydra into Gargoyle Stoneplate, or you would go Titanic Hydra for more tankiness. Something among that lines. Obviously, Titanic Hydra giving you a decent amount of burst as well. But you could also go more tanky route in general. So it will be interesting to see where he goes from the Black Cleaver.
Yeah, you generally see those Dariuses go for a full tank after that Black Cleaver. He doesn't need a whole lot of damage after that, but if he does opt for damage item, I think it's going to either be something along the lines of a Sterix or a Maw. Especially the Maw gets a Rumble wouldn't be horrible.
Maybe even an early Hex Drinker right now, and then finish the Black Cleaver could be one thing he can do.
Yeah, definitely. As we are seeing, Olaf going to be clearing his whole top side right now. See if he ends up backing here, or he just yes, he will end up backing here. He's running for a very fast clear for Olaf. Is what he does is Olaf, you just take your top side, you back, you pick up the other jungle item, then you take the rest of the bot side. And that gets you out onto the map. It gets you your level 5, I believe, pretty early, as you do wait to pick up the camp, and that gets the rest of the map to a higher level, which means you end up getting you get more experience off your camps, and so you can hit level 5 kind of quickly. because you get your top side fairly fast because you do clear it instantly as Olaf basically. It's just a little interesting adaptation there from you see a lot of Olaf's do right now. Lee Sin just clearing out his bot side.
Yeah, it's also a very mana efficient route, basically using up his entire mana pool for the top side, then going back, having another full mana bar, and then taking the blue buff to really accelerate that climb on the levels, so that he is relatively fastly able to get to those higher level axes, because they're really important to get the damage down later on in the ganks.
It's also very important for Olaf to do this type of a clear against a Lee Sin, because Lee Sin is generally considered the counter to Olaf, because Lee Sin does execute damage on his Q, and Olaf jungles at a very low health bars. So it's actually quite important for him to do something along those lines to keep himself healthy, prevent himself from getting counter jungled by this Lee Sin.
Meanwhile, top lane actually looking quite even, despite Vert able to push that all day, all night. Ooh, nice interrupt here by Bruiser and Bruiser actually the mid lane onto Envy. He has to stay around for a bit longer, which obviously will cost him a bit of CS at some point.
Yeah, he's not getting the ideal back off, but Lee Sin is in the area. It's probably going to help his laner out and get to push that wave in, get him out safely, as we are seeing pretty aggressive positioning here from Jockstar.
Fallen actually already on the grump of Shinny, so yeah, he's taking away the enemy's jungle. Had kind of an idea where Shinny was going to be, and it's just taken away the gold, the experience, and obviously the gank option really, because this means that Shinny can't delay his gank any further. But Absolute actually going really low in the bottom lane. Ignite was burned, as well as Flash and heal from Mikau. He also went relatively low. But this obviously gives NTZ the way to shove out, which helps them. But on the other hand, obviously, Summon's advantage now on the side of Team 1. That bottom lane.
Still the heal in the Flash available to him. Heal down for that the Xayah, the Ignite down too. So if they are able to back here, pick up their items, and then return to lane, they'll have the Summoner advantage. They can use that to try to pick up a kill, as they do have a very aggressive. They have a huge kill potential at level 6 because of their ultimates, as well as the synergy in their passives. Looks like Darius picked up a little bit of a CS lead here. Rumble has not backed yet, so he's just going to pick up those Merc Treads first. So it looks like he'll probably go for the Merc Treads and then the Black Cleaver instead of going for a Maw, which is pretty standard, no surprises.
So, yeah, I just wanted to point out we have an Infernal Drake, so both INTZ and Team 1 obviously looking forward to taking that. I think it benefits Team 1 a bit more because they have 3 carries that massively rely on their main stat, but ITZ would obviously still have a use for those extra stats.
Yeah, they would appreciate it. As we are seeing an engage here on the bot side. Looks like the Lucian has healed up quite a bit with that Dorn's regen, and he's ready to engage with that extra summoner, but looks like that's not going to be. They're going to end up backing here. The Rumble did back as well. He comes back with that Haunting Guys, has the pen ready for the Merc Treads. But I think the Darius is more concerned about the gank potential from the Olaf, and those Merc Treads going to slow the duration. They're going to decrease the slow duration of those axes. Will help him out in case the gank does come his way. Both these mid laners sitting dead even in CS right now. Darius is going to set up a little bit of vision for the Lee Sin to help here. And it looks like there might be a bit of a fight here in the jungle.
Fallen trying to get his rat with the axe, but obviously would have been a blind steal, so Shinny gets away with that red buff and is looking to contest these Raptors as well right now. Shinny and AL coming in. A Bruiser's on the side, has no mana though, so they can't really fight here.
He has no mana, so they're going to have to back off there. Darius still with the advantage he has in the top lane, going to rotate over the jungle, but that does cost him his CS lead. But it does help out the Lee Sin, give him a lot of vision control in the area, and they could... But the response could be to set up a dive here. Olaf is sniffing this one out, though, so he's going to end up...
Here comes Envy with a Weaver's Wall. Good damage coming down. Vert flashes out of the field and actually picks up a counter kill with a Flame Spitter. Fallen, the dive was actually prepared by Shinny, but Shinny takes a lot of turret damage, and Fallen just looking at them, staring them in the face, staring them down. INTZ trade 1-for-1 here. Vert, really good play, taking down Envy, but he's gonna lose the CS here, and it doesn't look like Fallen is actually picking it up. Vert teleporting back to lane to pick that CS up.
Yeah, that was a really nice play there from Rumbles. We all see the replay come out right now. It was a nice Weaver's Wall to sort of cut him off there. He only had a small escape, but Talia just stands on top of the barbecue for too long and ends up dropping and burning to a crisp. So first blood going over that Rumble. He has a lot of damage to his name. He had that pen. And looks like he's going to be opting in for Zanya's next tier, so he's going to try to help himself out against that Darius. But Darius will have that Black Cleaver very shortly, and the Zanya's armor won't mean a whole lot.
Yeah, at least that's going to be a Seeker's Vanguard, if not the Zanya's, as you said. So that's going to be quite rough for AL to deal with later on. But obviously he has a decent amount of true damage in his kit, so he might be able to just burst through that anyway with the help of Shinny or Envy, if it comes to that again.
Some trading here in the mid lane. Bot lane, fairly even, although the Xayah has a small CS lead, about 9 CS right now. In the top lane, things very, very even. The only real difference here is the fact that Rumble got the first
fight in the
blood.
bottom lane. Glacial Fissure coming out. Jogster taking a lot of damage, but the teleport comes in from behind. Absolute is trying to run away. Redbird is obviously going to go down here, but can Ale get any more? Forehand coming in from the side. He takes a lot of damage himself, gets pulled back by the upper hand. Ale picks up that kill. In the meantime, Envy went down somewhere. I didn't see that. Bruiser picked up that kill. But overall, it's a 2-for-1 for the side of INTZ.
2-for-1 for the side of INTZ and 2 kills over to the Xayah. ONE tried to get the engage onto Ince's bot lane there, but the teleport came out as well as Shinny hovering in the area, and that just meant that ONE didn't have the numbers advantage that they thought they had. It was an easy cleanup, but on the other side, or in the mid lane, as looked like Talia was trying to rotate over, Brewster got the jump on her, ended up taking her down. Infernal Dragon going to be started by Brewster here, and with the bot lane pretty low, it looks like this is going to go over to ONE.
Nicely done, at least getting the trade down, as well as a lot of damage on that top turret. So they're overall coming out bruised but not scarred. But they definitely have to pick some better fights in the near future.
We're seeing the replay of that kill in the mid lane. Great shockwave, a lot of burst damage coming out, and Brewster flashes away the knock up through the field, and he's able to pick up that kill. This next one going over the Xayah, double kill for her. Shinny almost drops there, but ends up surviving.
It kind of is it kind of merges into a pattern here that everybody just flashes away from Envy's tonsil stones. Kind of sad for him, but obviously Flash with a long cooldown. Vert just coming back. Bruiser's gonna be still down for at least 3 more minutes, so he will have quite the opportunity now, to get the ganks down, get the plays down, and maybe pick up 1 or 2 kills on the map.
Yeah, we'll see if he's going to be able to end up doing so. On the top side, looks like we could be seeing some action here shortly. Talia is rotating over the top side of the map. Olaf in the jungle nearby. The Weaver Wall is available. Rumble does have flash, though.
Yeah, Shinny also coming up through the lane. They're setting up for a dive here onto Vert, and Fallen is not close enough yet. And INTZ is actually just going for the turret. Vert is standing here, but it looks like Fallen really doesn't want to commit to this. Equalizer wasn't available, so they couldn't really take a fight there.
Yeah, equalizer not available. But the Orianna and Olaf were rotating over. Looks like the Olaf gonna back. Shinny still staying in the area. Talia gonna head over to the mid lane and pick up that scuttle crab in the meantime as well. I do like the fact that the Olaf is gonna go for those ninja tabbies. Really, the only threat to him right now is gonna be that the Talia and the Darius. Normally, you do see a lot of the times he goes for those cooldown boots, but I think for him to be able to survive in these fights, just take the Orianna ball into those team fights is really important here for ONE. So I do like the itemization we have going on here. Looks like ITZ still want that top lane turret, and they're gonna get it.
Really nicely done. They take down first break on the map, sharing the gold, which I don't quite agree with. I think Ale would have liked the solo gold there, but it's not that important. Speaking of the Ninja Tabi on Olaf, I do think as well that's a good decision. You often see the cooldown boots picked up, for the summoner spell cooldown to get the ghost as often as possible. But really, he can't gank a lot of lanes very often. So he's gonna take the longer cooldown and be more tanky for it.
Indeed, he will. As we are seeing the Rift Herald started here by the Lee Sin, and Lee Sin can solo the Rift Herald very easily. Most champions can actually. Fun fact: it just takes quite a long time to do so, and you need some type of coverage in terms of vision control. But he's gonna take it. It's a pretty big objective to take here, so he's able to get it for free essentially. He was hovering on the top side of the map for a very long time though, and that means it's very likely that ONE have a lot of vision control, which they do. You can see in the bot side jungle, and that could set up a dive here onto INTZ.
Bruiser and Fallen already in the area. They're gonna secure the blue buff here for Bruiser. And it looks like everybody's kind of backing off, but I think they might want to do a play down there relatively soon when everybody is back with items.
Yeah, it looks like the Lucian gonna back pick up that Blade of the Rune King. Xayah has her Essence Reaver, which is so critical for those for her, as cooldown reduction and mana regen is very important. If you can get more pullbacks on those feathers, that's gonna allow you to keep kiting the team, get you more feather storms to keep you alive against the Olaf, or keep you out of a shockwave. As we are seeing Redbird trying to steal this. Let's see if he's able to get it. No.
Not really. Redbird, nice try, but it was really late actually. If you look at the footage. So overall, INTZ in a very good position right now. They're getting the split push going in the top lane, and Verd really not a split pusher on that rumble. So AL sooner or later will have a field day up there, and really one has to get a team fight down here. Oh, the Glacial Fissure misses, but they're still going under the turret. This is going too far. Redbird taking a lot of damage to cooling, striking Envy full force though. And both of them get out with less than half health. Jogster with a flash death sentence, but it didn't work. Redbird getting out. But the dragon is coming up in 20 seconds, and they want to get some vision down, as well as they're pinging the bot lane turret. One that is actually, sorry.
Yeah, that was really forced there by ONE. They tried to pick up Talia, and the Glacial Fissure missed because it was a nice job from Envy to proc the ghost early and had so much move speed. It was very hard to hit her, even though you got the concussive blow passive on. They weren't able to catch her either. They get some damage on it, but they force out the Ragnarok from Olaf. They force out the culling from Lee Sin, and that means culling from Lucian rather, and that means they could have an advantage into this dragon fight here.
Yeah, but INTZ is, obviously it's just a Cloud Drake, so I guess they're just gonna give that one up to pick up the farm in the lanes. INTZ obviously in the bottom lane with quite the advantage in CS. Looking over at Joxer and Mikau, that's overall, I think, around 30 CS that they're ahead of one combined. So they definitely have the pressure there to take the turret early.
Yeah, indeed they will. They have the Rift Herald available to them on Shinny as well too. We could look to rotate to that side of the map to expedite that process you were just mentioning.
Here
Looks like they're
come
going to try to set
Envy
up
and
that here.
Shinny. Oh, Absolute already taking a bit of damage. Teleport is immediately channeled by Verda, but this is gonna be too late. Absolute already going down. Mikau on the side picking up another kill, and Ariel actually picking up two there, which is gonna be crucial. 3-0 now onto him, and they take the bot lane turret as well.
AL getting very, very scary on that Darius. Is a great setup there from INTZ. They still have Rift Herald 2. The Rift Herald's still running down lanes. You see him sort of glitching out on the minions. But that means they're going to for sure get this tier 2. And if they don't respect this, they could even start pushing for the inhibitor turret. Looks like they're going to opt into not doing so, though. The Rift Herald should get some chip damage onto it, though. Yeah, it does take about...
quote unquote chip damage, let's put it like that. Seeing this bot dive one more time.
As we are seeing a great box, a nice setup there from the Thresh. Down goes Absolute. And AL on the backside of that, he gets the kill with the ultimate, so that gets him to 5 stacks. He's able to easily take that double kill. And they, with the Rift Herald here, they end up taking that tier 1 and the tier 2. Extends the gold lead to about 3k. And that's actually pretty decent here at about 19 minutes.
Yeah, looking at Mikau especially, he already has both the Essence Reaver as well as the Phantom Dancer now completed. And on the other side, we only see Absolute with the Blade of the Ruin King and half of a Phage or something? I don't know.
Yeah, part of a phase. It looks like he will be going for that Black Cleaver second item on the Lucian to be able to help him kite out these fights, especially against Darius. Could prove to be pretty useful. But it's not going to be the case, but it's not going to be the case against a Lee Sin though. And that's what he really has to worry about: is Lee Sin getting onto the back line, kicking him into the rest of the team.
Yeah, sorry. Continue. I didn't even think about it, but now it makes so much sense. Adaptive Helm on Darius against that Flame Spitter on the side of Vert. Really gonna help him quite a lot to take all the damage he needs to split push this lane ad infinitum.
Yeah, the Rumble's in a bit of a rough spot, and I think that pros are going to start realizing this and start picking him less. Is that Doran Shield and Adaptive Helm are so good against him, it's really hard for him to lane against anyone that can itemize into those two early on. And looks like AL realized that he's able to do so, and that Rumble's not. It's going to tickle him at this point.
The only thing that he's really gonna be useful for is an equalizer bot at this stage of the game, but also he itemized towards the Zhonya's Hourglass as he predicted, so he's not gonna have the most damage possible at this stage of the game.
Yeah, no pen boots either. He has those tabbies to help him survive. That just means that he's going to end up doing a lot less damage. Ragnarok comes out from Olaf.
Yeah, he tried to go in there, but it's really not working out. Meanwhile, putting on so much pressure on that inhibitor, and Shinny and Envy are around. But on the other side, we have the Featherstorm coming out from Mikau, dodging most of that culling actually. But Mikau getting hit up by the Winter's Bite. Can they lock him down? Forlan now coming from the side. Drogster might be the next target. Mikau putting down more damage. They can't really rely on the turret right now. Mikau good kiting though with the lantern. Forlan taking a lot of damage. Are they even able to pick up this kill? It's gonna be enough, but Jogster getting the death sentence onto Absolute. But everybody is getting out alive somehow. One with really nice aggro manipulation. But the thing is, it took so long for them, and they lost an inhibitor for it.
Yeah, it took an incredibly long time for them to do that. And I actually think
an inhibitor itself.
Yeah, they got the inhibitor itself. So although that was nice aggro management from one on that dive. I think that was even better kiting from Macau and Jockster rather, and that just allowed their team to pick up the inhibitor on the bot side of the map. So even though when you get 2 kills, Ints take the inhibitor on the bot side of the map, and we're at 23 minutes into the game, and that means Baron has spawned. Ints is ahead in the game, and they have the bot side inhibitor, so that means there's a lot of pressure on that objective right now.
Especially since it's the bot lane inhibitor. But I really, Mikau and Jox are really showing why they were MVPs in week 1 for INTZ.
Yeah, they definitely had great synergy there. Jockster has those movie boots, so he was able to get out ahead of Macau. CC'd a couple of people, able to throw the lantern, allowed Macau to keep kiting that comp. And although they did end up falling, it was very, very close. And I think if they tried to pull something like that in a couple of minutes when Macau has a little bit of life steal, or even now that she has that last whisper, that does not work.
So Dragon is up one more time. It's, I think, a Cloud Drake this time around again. Oh no, it's actually a Mountain Drake, so it's a bit more important than I actually thought it would be. And Shinny has already started it. It's already at 1,700 health, but one is coming in. Shinny picks up the Dragon, but the Weaver's Wall is cutting off one completely there. Mikau trying to go down. Redbird taking a lot of damage as well as Absolute. And the Weaver's Wall really cutting off a lot of members of Team 1. Meanwhile, Ale is pushing down the bot lane one more time with super minions. So one definitely has to find an answer for that, and they're looking at the Baron, but they really can't take it. Meanwhile, INTZ definitely can.
INTZ can look to take the Baron right now, but Darius on the bot side of the map, he could be looking to make a play on the Brewster here in the mid lane. He doesn't have anyone to help him out, but Braum is going to be here in a few moments, so he's not going to be able to find anything. He does have that Windrake to help him get him onto the back line. Does this Darius? He has that Maw Melmortius as well, or rather the Hex Drinker that builds into Maw Melmortius. Shinny almost got out, but
He's gonna get
dropping.
Yeah, he's gonna get out. Obviously, he should back just to be ready and available to smite the Baron at any point if one try to do something fishy. But yeah, INTZ in full control of this game right now.
Yeah, they have 2 dragons here. They have the full bot side of the map taken down, the inhibitor included. They're up about 2k gold, so it's not actually a very big gold lead. And in fact, ONE have been catching up a little bit. They're going to start the Baron right now, though. They know what's happening as someone did auto-attack the ward. Unfortunately, don't do that in your solo queue game, guys. If there's a ward on the Baron, you have a red-pink trinket, rather the vision ward. You can just
Baron is picked up though, but the equalizer coming down. Nice shockwave picking up 2 members. Mikau is in the back of the fight. They pick up 1, but it's not gonna be enough. Team 1 pick up 4 kills in that Baron pit, and only Envy can live to tell the tale. So Team 1 is now pushing down the mid lane. They already have some decent damage on that tier 2, so they're definitely looking for the mid lane inhibitor. They can't really look for game as the death timers are not long enough yet. But
I think Envy recognizes that the mid lane inhibitor is gone, so he's just going to try to take top side tier 2, get a little bit of gold out of that. He couldn't defend that inhibitor by himself, but it was really a great recognition from ONE to make a play on that Baron as Ints ended up throwing there. Death Sentence comes out, not going to hit.
They're still trying to get a play down. Nice Sonic Wave by Shinny. He can get in there, but he gets stunned up and takes so much damage. The Shockwave coming in. Shinny almost dropping there. Sorry, but here comes the redemption. Nice apprehend onto 3 members. That's a really great throw into the Tonsil Stones, and 3 kills going down for INTZ in very quick succession.
A very nice chase there from INTZ is going to allow them to, at the very least, take that bot lane inhibitor. Mid lane inhibitor down on their side of the map, but getting that bot lane inhibitor is also important, even though Baron is not available right now. They still have 2 towers to take in the mid lane, so that's not really an option. They might be able to end. They have Baron. They're not going to opt in
They're
for
getting the
it.
minion.
They're going to try to end.
Yeah, they're going to try to end here. And the nice engage by Ale might lead them all the way to victory. Fallen already taking a bit of damage. Envy.
The Weavers blocks
really
the Braum off.
catching Redbird off, but he jumps over the wall. The team fight is on Mika, putting down a lot of damage, but he might drop relatively soon. But Absolute is actually the first one to drop. Ale now in the front line. He will have to sacrifice himself for the benefit of his team. 3 glowing red health bars on the sides of INTZ as they massively overvalue their ending potential. Let's see this one more time, though. Good.
Nice job of flashing away the death sentence here, but there's a lot of chase, a lot of different slows. The Lee Sin, he lands the Sonic Wave. He almost drops here to that Shockwave, but the heal comes out. Redemption as well. The teleport on the backside. Darius gets in. Great apprehend that really sets up an easy knock up or knockback from the Talia, and they're able to take the bot lane inhibitor for their trouble. They try to go for maybe an end. I don't. Looking back on that, maybe it wasn't the best decision. They do get Nexus Tower for it. Not super important though. Most of the time when you do end a game, you take both those Nexus Towers, no problem. So it looks like the map gonna reset here now. Mid lane inhibitor is not as important as one of those side lane inhibitors though. So the Talia gonna be able to clear out those super minions relatively easily. She has Baron buff still. It will be dropping off here in a moment.
Actually, next dragon is again an Infernal Drake, so this might be worth a team fight for to some 30 seconds on the clock. Is INTZ gonna focus on that at all? It looks like they're all in top lane, so they're not gonna contest it most likely.
Not gonna contest that, it seems, like you stated, but they are gonna start rotating over to this mid lane. They possibly want to trade that dragon for the mid lane tower. Dragon spawning here in 10 seconds. Maybe they do get here in time, though. In fact, Talia is the last one to come through the mid lane, and they are here on time. And it looks like they're actually going to be the ones that take this Infernal.
Yeah, really, actually nice timing. I didn't think they could get there in time, but they really know when to start rotating and when to be there. Shinny picking up that Infernal Drake for his team. 3 dragons on the side of INTZ now, and now, the other Drake can come.
So the Elder Dragon gonna be the next one spawning. INTZ has 3 Drakes to their name, so that will be a very valuable Elder Dragon for them. And he does have that 1 Infernal, so definitely not something to sneeze at for them either.
Yeah. Also, obviously, one able to pick up the Baron a lot easier. The Elder Drakes are a lot easier than INTZ. As you know, you do more damage to the Baron the lesser amount of dragons you have.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's a fun fact.
It at least was the case at some point. I'm pretty sure it's still the case, actually. I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure that's still the case.
That is really interesting to note. You do more damage to Baron if you have less dragons.
Not Baron, the Elder Drake.
Oh, the Elder Drake. You do less. You do less damage to the Elder Dragon the more dragons you have.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So the more dragons you have, the harder it is to take the Elder Drake, basically.
Interesting.
Which kind of makes sense as a combat mechanic, but.
Yeah, I can see that. You want to be able to. You want to be able to come back into the games, and if you have a scaling composition, you do want to be able to take that Elder Dragon, even though the other team may have.
Oh yeah, let's call it out on the side. Weaver's wall coming in, but it's not going to be enough. It's too late, and Envy actually in the wrong position on the wall here. Flashes over. Really takes a lot, but Jogster also caught out. 2 kills in quick succession for Team 1, and now they are looking to push down the mid lane one more time to take that inhibitor.
So AL split pushing a little bit too far forward. Not respecting the slows, the CC from the Orianna there. He ends up dropping to the equalizer in the Rumble, and so it looks like one are going to be the ones that try to. They're going to take this mid lane inhibitor very likely. So the game is really evening up here.
Yeah, AL with a decent amount of death timer left, but it looks like one is smarter in this case than INTZ was earlier. They're backing off. They're looking at the Baron, which is coming up in 15 seconds. So that the times of the deaths couldn't really be less fortuitous for INTZ.
Yeah, they are. It's going to allow one to set up vision control around the Baron with that death of AL. They're going to have to fight for vision control here. AL might be face checking a brush he doesn't want to face check. He ends up sidestepping the Winter's Bite though, and he's going to be able to walk away.
Yeah, really nicely done. Doesn't have flash, so has to be careful. Obviously, the most tanky member on the side of INTZ, but he's not, a late game Galio, a late game Maokai as it was earlier in this season. So still has to be careful not to get caught out.
Darius, he's going to be finishing that Randuin's Omen here in a moment. Probably going for that Dead Man's Plate last item. See, so many Dariuses do. Once he gets those two items under his belt, you can probably consider him like full tank basically. But until then, that's not really the case. He's going to take a lot of damage from the Lucian and Olaf. He doesn't have that much armor right now. So we are seeing him hover on the bot side of the map. He has teleport available to him for that Baron though. That could end up getting started at any moment. When he is only down 1k gold now, so really this game is neck and neck.
Yeah, and one thing that is really interesting, and I really like the idea, since we now have the Abyssal Mask, which is basically the Abyssal Scepter without armor, ability power. He picks it up, gets the stats that it gives, some armor, some magic resist, I think, right?
It is magic resist and health.
Ah, I'm sorry, but it still has the passive of the Abyssal Scepter, so he's shredding. He's making the shockwave that he's
delivering
almost undoubtedly gonna carry into the backline, do more damage, which is really interesting. But the Baron is started, and INTZ are coming in. Glacial Fissure coming down. Shinny tries to get into the pit way too early. But meanwhile, Redbird got dropped on the side of Team 1. INTZ trying to get in there. Nice equalizer. Getting a lot out of them. Yeah. And the Baron is picked up by Team 1 in the end.
Yeah, so I really... I have to say this comes down to AL's death earlier. The death timer allowed them to set up vision. There was no way for Lee Sin to know what the Baron's health was at that point. He goes in way too early, like you stated. And that just means that one are able to pick up that Baron, and now they have the gold lead. Elder Dragon going to be spawning here in about 30 seconds as well. So they have the Baron. Elder Dragon spawning. They will be able to take it faster than Ints because of the less dragons, because that's what I learned today. And this is really going to come down to a big team fight here on this Elder.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the case. Although, to be fair, one doesn't really need it, but they can't really let INTZ take it, is the problem. So they definitely have to fight there and waste some precious Baron timer as well. If they can win the fight at all.
It looks like INTZ might be just giving this one up, and that's a free Elder Dragon. Lee Sin misses the Sonic Wave. He doesn't know how much health this one's at either, so if he goes in once more, he will end up dropping like the last time.
Yeah, he's got the Sonic Wave onto Redbird. He tried to get in, but really not happening for him. He goes down. Redbird again being, the recipient of the damage of INTZ, but he's not going to drop from that. He's a muscly and tanky Braum, so he's quite ready to take that one.
I think one are quite okay with picking up that Elder Dragon, even though, like you said, you don't need it. I think they'll take an extra 6% AD and AP, as well as the true damage burn, and that's just going to allow them to keep sieging down.
He'll take so much damage. He's already going down. Fallen in the backside already with a huge movement speed. They take down Envy. Meanwhile, Mikau is locked down as well. Jokster lives to tail the tail, but what a tail it is! It is a tail of Team 1 victory.
Yeah, this one is just going to end here in a couple of moments. So Team 1 taking a game off of Ints. They were the team that ended up beating Keed Stars yesterday.
Oh, the inhibitors left.
Inhibitor trolls them here. They did end up beating Keed Stars yesterday, and we saw Int struggle with CBG or
CNB.
CNB, and that just goes to show that Ints is they've continuing to slide here, as we saw in the playoffs last season. Didn't have a great performance. Beginning of the split this season, not having the greatest performance, and I really would want to see them turn around, take a game off of Keed Stars, or take a game off of ONE here in order to actually pick up any amount of momentum.
But on the other side, Team 1 picking up Game 1, really another star on their jerseys. They're coming in hot into this new CBLoL season, and they're definitely looking to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, and coming into the season really hot from the Challenger Series. It goes to show why they ended up getting promoted here. As we do see some replays here. So it was really nice play by Vert here. He just greatly, a well-placed equalizer, puts Telia in a really awkward spot. Ale gets a kill off of this play here, but it's still worth there for ONE as he drew so much attention. We see the play here in the bot lane where Ints had a great teleport, and they had a couple man advantage here. The Orianna, though, did pick up a kill onto the Talia as a response from that play, but it's still going to be Int's favored. And this is where we see a very nice dive here from the members of INTZ. Down goes Macau, and then the teleport in from the Darius. He just gets the free ultimate on the Braum, gets him that 5 stacks of hemorrhage. He takes down the Rumble as a response very easily, but this is where you start to see it turn around a little bit for ONE. I think ITZ played this one out well, and it was worth for them. But they did give over a couple of kills, and Absolute did pick up that one there. And so this is really the big play here, as we see INTZ pick up that Baron, but a great Shockwave and a great Equalizer allow ONE to really to climb back into this one, as they get 4 kills as a response, and they take down the mid lane inhibitor, I believe, as a response.
To be fair, here we see a great play from Ale, and to be fair to Ale here, he has some massive plays throughout this game. He almost looked like an MVP made for INTZ before that one crucial misstep that he had later, getting picked up off in the bottom side. That kind of cost his team the game. So the mighty rise, the mighty fall, one might say.
Yeah, it's hard to say that it cost his team the game, but that pick ended up giving a lot of vision control over to ITZ, and that's what set up the Baron. That's what set up their push. And Lee Sin, he face checked into the Baron pit as well as the Elder Dragon as a response twice in a row. They get the picks, they get the win. So ONE taking this one down. And if I were to pick an MVP for this game, for me, it would have to be almost have to be I would say Orianna, I think, had some pretty big shockwaves. The Olaf was a great delivery system for him. I think the Olaf played very, very well. Equalizers were good. It was a lot of great team fighting ultimates. Hard to pick one out for me, but I'm going to give it to the Rumble here. I think Vert played really well on here, and he really allowed his team really good equalizers. We don't have access to the damage after the fact, but I believe if you looked at the damage, he would most likely have the most in the game.
I would kind of disagree with you, but not by too much. Obviously, great game by Vert, but I would personally really want to award Lamb with his victory with the MVP. But obviously, you're the color caster, so you're the authority here. So we'll take him.
We're allowed to have a debate on this one, my friend Armageddon.
All right.
But that is going to be it for us for now. We're going to take a couple-minute break here before the next game. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see if Ints is able to reclaim and tie this series up 1-1, or if ONE shows that they're a dominant power here and take 2-0.
Yeah. See you guys around.